Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. It is Tuesday, January 31st, 2023. Conference championships are done, baby. It's a Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl that we're going to be prepping for the next 2 weeks until it comes up. I'm joined today by my co-hosts, John Luke Garofalo and Andrew Cooper. What's up, boys?
Oi. Hey.
Oi.
Very good. We did.
Very good.
Beautiful, boys. Good morning.
Good morning. We got Tommy in the chat bright and early this morning saying it's Tuesday morning with no football in sight. I miss it already. It's just not right. We got we got the Pro Bowl games this weekend though, right?
Yep.
That's true. That's true.
Is there more or less excitement for this Pro Bowl setup than there has been for Pro Bowls of the past couple of years?
I'd say slightly more, but really not considerably more.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's like I'm still not excited. It's like when it rains in the ocean. It's like I believe there's more water out there. Like I believe that to be true for the people that care. The people that care, maybe they care a little more. I do not care. I might.
Do you care?
I might look at some clips after the fact. I don't know. There's some things that do intrigue me a little bit. Of all the new events, which one catches your fancy the most, boys?
I don't remember them.
Was there like a water balloon toss?
Yeah, they wanted to do
dodgeball. I'm excited.
They were going to do an egg toss, but it was out of their budget.
It's dodgeball.
Egg toss. 3-legged race would be cool.
Egg toss was out of the budget, so they had to go water balloon toss. The one that I'm kind of intrigued to see is the long drive contest. I want to see who brings the hammer out
and who's just got like a mean slice.
Who's slicing hard. I've seen clips of a couple professional athletes, usually at Topgolf, but unfortunately Travis Kelce's in the Super Bowl, so he's not going to be there. But he crushes a golf ball. I've also seen Mike Trout smush a golf ball, which makes a lot of sense.
Smush.
I saw a video yesterday of this girl like Topgolf, and just from the way she was standing, you were like, oh, she swung a softball bat a couple thousand times in her life. Like she had a softball bat, she had a grip on the club and a full stance down, like in a swinging stance, and she swung the club like a softball bat. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, this is a video that's going to be her missing and falling into the net. No, she hit that ball clean over the net at the back of the top. Like, it was insane. It was absolutely absurd.
What's your guys' take on Topgolf?
I think it's a fun place to get together with your friends that has overpriced food and drinks. And by the end, 80% of the people there are frustrated.
I just wish it was. Go ahead, Coop, actually, before I had mine.
I was just listening.
You don't have a Topgolf take?
I do have many Topgolf takes.
Let's hear it.
I mean, where do I begin? The food's overpriced. I don't know. I think that it's a great idea. But Simon's right. It is frustrating. The most frustrating thing possible, if you want to drive yourself insane, play the Angry Birds game that they have there, where you're gonna like knock down the towers. Dude, nothing works the way it's supposed to, and it drives me nuts.
That's the thing that bothers me, is that it just doesn't work quite right.
Right.
If it was accurate, it would be more fun. But the fact that it's not super accurate makes it nearly not fun at all. Nearly the same as a driving range to me.
Exactly. And you got to make sure you go with people that are, it's like playing a complicated board game at times, where it's like you need to have the right crew. If you go there with your buddies that are more interested in drinking beers, people are going to be hitting the wrong ball. they're going to be, messing the whole, not
It's
playing
kind of tough.
not playing the games.
You
right.
have to be paying attention to switch who's up. And so, yeah, you absolutely have the wrong ball hit by people all the time.
Coop, you hit on, like, when I say 80% of the people are going to be frustrated, there's a myriad of things that lead to that. One of them is what you mentioned. It's other people there not quite participating, and they think it only affects them, but it affects the group, right? It affects the flow of the entire event, the people that are trying to play. And then JL, it's the other part that you said, it just doesn't work properly all the time. You combine those two things, and what's supposed to be fun for everyone usually leads to most people having some sort of frustration by the end. And then when the Bills come out, everybody's a little bit frustrated.
Everybody's frustrated.
You got to bring
expensive.
You got to have that one dude with you that knows how to work the controls really good to switch it back to whoever's turn it's supposed to be. That's what
that guy who's been racking up Topgolf rewards for the last 10 years.
Gotta have the reward guy there. Absolutely.
There was one time in high school that I went to Topgolf with my sister and her boyfriend, and then I was friends with her boyfriend's friend and their family, right? But I'm a high school kid. I'm a little bit smaller at the time. I haven't quite hit my growth spurt yet. And they like put like 5 extra things on our bill at the end. And I remember the parents there that were paying for it, like, called the waitress or the waiter over, and the waiter got huffy with them and called his manager over. And the manager comes up, and it's this huge dude. And you could tell, like, he stands over my friend's mom, just standing there like, no, this is correct. This is correct. And then walking back from the bathroom was her husband, who is a former college football offensive lineman. And all of a sudden he sees this man like standing over his wife and just stands up there. And he's not aggressive. He uses only nice words, but makes it clear to this man, like, if you're going to use your size, I'm going to use mine. Right. It made this dude look like this little boy standing there. And very quickly, the entire meal was comped. Everything they were like, sorry, sir, we see our mistake now. Comp the whole thing.
And then you tried that? And they were
and then I found $20 and everybody clapped.
They're like, best we can do. Simon did that, and they're like, best we can do is a couple of French fries.
A couple French fries. So it's not even the whole thing.
There was one time at a movie theater, I was short a quarter for the large drink, but I looked at my friend and I was like, watch this. And I just walked up and ordered it, and I was like, oh, I'm short a quarter. And they're like, so you want the medium? And I was immediately humbled. I was trying to be like, I bet they'll just give it to me. And then I'm standing there in front of my buddy, and he's like, oh yeah, nice.
Impressive.
Dude didn't even take his headphones out. He just dumped it down the drain. He was like, yeah, all right. You can't afford it. Okay.
He just poured it into a smaller cup and then dumped the extra out.
Dumped it out, yeah. Threw it in the trash.
Well, guys, it's that time of morning. I hope everyone watching brought something to eat, brought a little something to munch on bright and early, because we got everything else, the stories, the topics, the news. But you got to bring your own breakfast. John Luke, what'd you bring for breakfast this morning?
Juice.
Typical.
I'm telling you, Mama, she's not going to be pleased. She's not.
Yeah, my mom's been getting mad at me for my breakfast choices on the air lately.
What do you think a breakfast you could have on air that would make your mother happy would be?
Peanut butter.
Just peanut butter?
Just plain peanut butter.
JL's in the middle of the show just sticking his fingers into a jar of peanut butter and licking it off.
Just Winnie the Poohing it in multiple facets.
I'm setting a good example. I'm being healthy. Mama Gruffalo. I'm having peanut butter, and I'm having a banana, and I'm having kale. I'm having acai berry superfoods.
Acai
berry. Acai berry, and every other superfood you can think of. I also had 5 multivitamins and an entire gallon of water. So yeah, anything you can think of, I've actually had that for breakfast. Just to make that clear. And I'm not shitting pretzels and juice like your son.
And he's a liar. And Tommy said, isn't that the guy who shoved Mahomes at the end of the game?
Yeah, it is.
Ossai. Yeah, very close. Very close.
Ossai.
Well, guys, I want to kick us off with our first story today. It's a follow-up on yesterday's story that Kellen Moore was leaving the Cowboys. It is now official. He will be the new offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers under Brandon Staley over there. So he was not unemployed for long, and the dude's on his way to LA to work with the Los Angeles Chargers.
Maybe that's how you get the mutually agreed to leave title that Kellen Moore got rather than being fired. Maybe he kind of knew that he was going to take that job, and they mutually agreed to let him do it. That sounds about right. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's very possible. I've mentioned earlier, whenever the Kellen Moore news came out, that I'm pretty sure he's an analytics guy. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like that's the truth. And if Mike McCarthy is not an analytics guy, maybe Staley is more his speed.
I mean, Moore's like a younger guy. He's like 34. So I always picture those guys being analytics guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that just code for young bias,
age
bias?
I think it is. I think imagine though he's just like the young guy, but he's just like a pure. He hates analytics. He's just a
pure football mind.
Run the
football
ball
intuition.
Right? Yeah, eye test guy. Right.
I'm just imagining if like Mike McCarthy and Andy Reid and Pete Carroll are the Looney Tunes, that like the Chargers head coaching staff is slowly becoming like Tiny Toon Adventures, like Brandon Staley and Kellen Moore and all the young guys just kind of running around. And they're NFL coaches. They're doing the full job. But it's just these young guys running around.
I did find a quote from a couple years ago. This is from Twitter, so take it with a grain of salt. But it said Kellen Moore's response when asked about analytics by the media today. Analytics? Yeah, I like it. I'm 31, so.
Exactly. That's how that works, dude. That's how that works.
He said, I'm also a fan of those freestyle Coca-Cola machines that Mike McCarthy seems to hate.
He doesn't
freestyle like a sound.
You ever been behind someone 50 or over at one of those Coca-Cola machines with all the touchscreen buttons? Yeah. You're going to be there about 10 minutes, either from not knowing how to use it or just the awe and amazement at the number of options. They'll click through every flavor of Sprite before they decide which one they want.
And
that's what it's called. It's called Coca-Cola Freestyle.
They sit up there, they're like, where's the Moxie?
Where's the Moxie?
What's an old-timey people? That's an old-timey people soda, right?
Moxie?
Yeah.
Is that a real soda?
I think so.
I know you got to have the Moxie, but I didn't know they had it in soda form back in the day.
Google Moxie soda, and it's literally a pic. Their logo is literally just an old, like a dude from like the 50s.
Jill, do you think Kellen Moore is going to find success in LA? Do you think this is the piece that's missing to save Staley's job?
No, but I think it's an upgrade. I think it's an improvement. So we'll see. We'll see how Kellen Moore does there. What about you, Simon?
I think it's a positive move for the Chargers overall. I know Staley has had troubles running that offense. It'll be nice to get Kellen Moore in there. He's done great things with Dak in Dallas. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see this Chargers team next year. Yeah. And maybe having another young analytics guy in there. Either one of two things is going to happen. It's going to confound the problem, and all of a sudden it's just going to be an absurd level of analytics decision making, and they're going to get all the crap in the world if it doesn't work. Or having two analytics guys in there is going to immediately fix the problem. You're going to have another set of eyes whenever you're making these decisions.
You're excited to see if maybe Kellen Moore can turn Justin Herbert into Dak Prescott?
Oh, we can only hope.
Can't wait.
That would be so.
Can't wait for that disappointment.
Yeah. Who do you think's a better quarterback, Justin Herbert or Dak Prescott?
Herbert
is,
yeah. Not to mention, like, it's in this league to a certain degree, it's a game. It's definitely a game of money, and it's also a game of age. Where Herbert, what is he, like 25 years old, 24 possibly even, and Dak's going to be 30 going into next season. So there's more room for the development with young guys, and also he's on a rookie deal, a lot cheaper. So give me Herbert for sure.
I'm with you guys. Well, Kellen Moore, congratulations. Not unemployed for long.
Not unemployed too long. That's some pretty good. Looks good for him, right? To get hired so quickly. Not
to mention he couldn't have claimed unemployment anyway because they didn't fire him. They mutually agreed for him to leave.
Or he quit.
Now,
some of the bigger news coming out of yesterday was Brock Purdy. We got some injury news on Brock Purdy. He suffered a complete tear of the UCL in his throwing elbow, and he will undergo surgery. So he's getting second opinions, but apparently this is from Pelissero. The initial hope is that he can undergo repair, not construction, aka Tommy John, and will be ready for training camp.
Yeah. Now you guys, I think we're going to try and do a fantasy baseball league this year, right?
Yeah.
But you guys haven't really played in the past.
No.
Never played fantasy baseball. No.
You will learn that UCL is a dirty word in baseball. That's the
Tommy John.
word. When you hear that, you immediately start thinking Tommy John. And in baseball, that's basically a 1.5 to 2 year recovery timeline. That said,
kids on my team growing up would get that.
Have you ever like looked into what goes into that surgery? It is super invasive.
They like rotate. They, like,
I'm good.
take out your thing and
that's
like rotate.
Cool.
It's
Maybe
disgusting.
that's a good thing to say out loud.
Yeah, they turn your arm and
they like go on the inside.
Yeah, that's cool.
Flip it, twist it, and
they turn your arm
like things on the inside of your body are supposed to do.
Yeah, like a catapult. But that being said, for NFL quarterbacks, I mean, I know everyone's different. The timeline isn't as long. In baseball, obviously, when you're a pitcher, it's super fine-tuned. And the difference between throwing 80 miles an hour and 90 miles an hour could come down to 3 or 4 extra months of rehab. In football, we've seen guys have completely torn UCLs and have the surgery done and actually come back the following season. The example that I know of is Jake Delhomme, the former quarterback took the Panthers to the Super Bowl, in fact. He had Tommy John surgery and was back for the next season. So it's not crazy, but at the same time, if he has a full tear and they do have to do Tommy John, because of where we are right now, it would be hard for him to be back at the start of the season.
Yeah, but it sounds like they're not expecting that. And if that doesn't happen, then we're good to go for training camp is what it sounds like.
Exactly. If they can repair it without training camp. You know, it's like, but just for anybody out there that's thinking, oh no, like the fantasy baseball people know that like this would mean that he's done for the entire year and might not even be ready to go for the following year. That's how it works with baseball. So it's not like that with football. It's not the same level of rehab.
Also, that's a tough ass dude. Staying on the sideline, trying to warm up to throw the ball, still coming back in the game with a fully torn UCL. Like, Brock Purdy's a tough dude. That dude wanted to be out there.
Got to do it, man. Yeah. Props to him for sure. Every once in a while they say like quarterbacks can't be tough. You know, it's because they're getting hit and all this stuff. But every once in a while you see a quarterback prove that that's not true. And I've seen Eli Manning take hits and get banged up. And he, you know, say what you will about Eli Manning. Like that dude didn't miss a start until he got benched. That dude played like through his entire career, which is wild. If you've seen the clip of Matt Stafford, the I Can Throw coach clip, have you guys ever seen that one? It's amazing. Google it when you get a chance. It's an NFL Films. He was mic'd up for a game. His shoulder completely torn, right? He comes out of the game and they're at the goal line against the Browns, I believe. And he just goes to the coach. He's like, I can throw if you need me to throw. Goes back in the game with his shoulder hanging off, wins the game. And then like everybody's like running to him to celebrate. And he's just like, don't touch me. Like I am badly injured. But it is one of my favorite all-time clips. Maybe the best mic'd up clip of all time. So check that one out. But that's a cool one. So Brock Purdy, man, that's a serious level of toughness to go out there with just the elbow hanging off.
We saw a couple examples of toughness this weekend. Patrick Mahomes as well was out there killing it. Did you guys see after this weekend's games, Nick Wright posted his quarterback rankings as for like quarterbacks he would want, and he put Patrick Mahomes 1, Joe Burrow 2, and then at number 3 he put Patrick Mahomes with one leg. And his reasoning behind doing that was he goes, you are the Chiefs. At the end of that game, on that last drive, you need to get into position to make a field goal or score a touchdown to win that game. Are you telling me there is a single other person besides Patrick Mahomes in that moment that you would have wanted leading that team? And he was Patrick Mahomes with one leg. He goes, Joe Burrow, and that's it. Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes healthy is the only other quarterback you would have wanted back there. And I don't agree with him, but I thought it was a funny way of reasoning it because he's not wrong. His reasons are not wrong. I think he got to the wrong conclusion.
Well, I think part of it though, it's interesting because when you go through the rankings, you gotta factor in that like the reason that we have guys like Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts so high is because their mobility. You take that away, I don't want one-legged Josh Allen making that throw, right?
Well, what about two-legged? He was putting one-legged Patrick Mahomes over two-legged Josh Allen.
I mean, in terms of in that situation, you don't want your quarterback. I guess Mahomes did run. You know what's funny is that like Mahomes did run to get the yardage he needed, and he only got the yardage because he got shoved in the back. Most quarterbacks could probably do that. So actually,
Probably make that run.
Yeah, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts probably make that run. Actually, I wouldn't want Jalen Hurts. He probably would have got out of bounds too fast to get for the penalty. He would. There wouldn't have been a penalty if it was Hurts.
Speaking of Patrick Mahomes, this is kind of random. I saw this news this weekend is that his father, Patrick Mahomes' father, told Park and Spiegel that the Bears told Mahomes that they're going to draft him at number 3 overall in 2018. He thought he was going to be a Bear, but once they traded up and got Mitch Trubisky, it kind of hurt him. It really did.
Kind of hurt the Bears too.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know what, Patrick Mahomes, I think the Bears ended up getting the worst end of that deal.
Yeah, I think they did.
Pretty rough. I see Tim in the chat saying, easy to be a one-legged QB when the refs don't call holding on your team ever. Interesting point. Now, I did yesterday on the show, I was like, oh, yeah, they're not going to call holding that situation. I did go back and watch that clip afterwards because I wanted to see like what the situation was. And with the Trey Hendrickson hold, and I tweeted out a clip on this, that actually wasn't a hold. There's a rule in the league that if you're doing if you do a rip move and that's what causes the arm to go around your neck, then it's not a hold, and that's exactly what happened on that play. So I side with that, and I'm not sure if you guys have seen the arguments that have stemmed from that, but it's not just the fans that are getting involved. There have been some crazy arguments.
Joe Thomas piped up, and he was on your side saying that it was not a hold.
Joe Thomas the Joe Thomas stuff has gone from just arguing about whether that was a hold to getting spicy and dicey with the entire Giants franchise, basically, including alumni. Have you guys been seeing any of this?
No.
So, Kayvon Thibodeau, who is a bit of an instigator, which we love, right? Being kind of a punk. I like villains. I like troublemakers. So he's been being a punk. He said he was talking about that, and then he came out and said that after watching this 49ers team, the Giants are better than the 49ers, to which Joe Thomas, who had already been arguing about the other thing, had to come in and say, I don't want to butcher what Mr. Thomas said because he let him know exactly how he feels. He said, you're a flash player who gets bodied by average tackles. Don't let the New York media affect you too much.
Thibodeau said that to Joe Thomas?
Thibodeau said, okay, here's the full rundown of how it went down. Thibodeau said, way this game look, we might be better than the 49ers, with a bunch of laughing emojis. That's what Kayvon Thibodeau said about the Giants being better than the 49ers. Joe Staley said to that, you're a flash player who gets bodied by average tackles. Don't let the New York media affect you too much. To which Kayvon Thibodeau said, who are you, bro? To which Joe Staley said, enough for you to respond. Congrats on your 4 sacks this year, though. That's huge. Unbelievable numbers. To which Michael Strahan had to step in. Michael Strahan, of course, now.
Papa Strahan.
Well, I mean, now we're talking guys that host morning TV shows. 1.3 million followers coming in saying, you also had a great career. Great. Awesome. Saying, you also had a great career. And should be proud.
Really had trouble figuring out what to say.
He did, yeah. He used a lot of characters in the beginning part. And then he goes, don't go after a rookie and my kicker. Kayvon had 4 sacks this year. I had 2.5 on you your rookie year. And I was old at that point. So don't forget that. Let my young guy live. Hashtag daddy. So now.
Hashtag daddy?
Hashtag daddy.
Hashtag daddy that.
He hashtag daddy.
Daddy to who? Thibodeau's daddy or Joe's daddy?
I think what Michael Strahan's trying to say is that he had 2.5 sacks on Joe Staley his rookie year, so he's Joe Staley's daddy.
Daddy, oh wow, brutal.
So yeah, so now this went from guys making like little comments about it to legends battling it out on the Twitter spheres, which I love to see. So yeah, pretty spicy there. That Thibodeau's his go-to response seems to be, "I don't know who you are." Because he said the same thing to Jeff Saturday as well.
Maybe he's not trying to insult people. Maybe he just like legitimately doesn't know who people are. And like people are responding and he's just like, hey, like help me out here. I don't know who you are.
He definitely does. I mean, well, the
Hall
thing
of Famer.
with this one, it's kind of funny because maybe he doesn't. With the other one, when he said it, like, you don't know who the coach of the Colts is. You probably should know. Well, like if you're playing against the Colts, you should know who their coach is.
It's definitely his move to get back, like stick it to him.
Which is an
To get
awesome.
I do the same thing.
Spooky in here says Lane Johnson is Thibodeau's daddy.
Spooky.
Yeah, based on the last time they played.
Spooky.
And then Spooky also in here saying, so when Hurts beats Mahomes, he's the best QB in the league, right? Yeah, by the transitive rule, which always applies in the NFL. When one team beats another, that quarterback then passes them in the rankings.
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes will still be the best quarterback in the NFL, even if they lose by 100. But I do think Hurts is consistently underrated and is probably up there as the top 3 quarterback in the league.
As a side note, my favorite transitive property NFL thing is that there's a subreddit for all the evil NFL teams. They call themselves the Evil League of Evil. And it's the group of the Patriots, Steelers, Cowboys, 49ers, Packers, Giants, and Bears. The evil teams. And they do this thing called the Chalice, where whoever, like, so one team has the Chalice, like say the Patriots have the Chalice. If the Steelers beat the Patriots, they now have the Evil League of Evil Chalice. And they keep track of who has it. So that's a transitive property cup that I enjoy tracking.
And Jay in here saying, so Eli Manning greater than Tom Brady. If he beat Tom Brady last before he retired, then yeah, via the transitive property, we just can't rule it out.
That would be true. I'll check it out to see if he has the evil quarterback Chalice, but I think he might.
Unbeatable, Jay.
He's
Eli Manning, two-time Hall of Famer. Two-time Hall of Famer.
He has 2 of the greatest femurs that,
The Hall of Famers.
He's in the Hall of Famers. Real strong thighs.
I did see a report yesterday that D'Amico Ryans told the Broncos that he is not interested, and that's because he's expected to become the Texans' new head coach. This is 49ers defensive coordinator D'Amico Ryans. But for the Broncos, this coming from Woody Page, this is their 3rd number 1 choice at head coach. Has turned them down. This Broncos job, do you think the Russell Wilson contract is scaring potential head coaching candidates away from this job? They've given up all their draft capital. They've got a huge contract on the books, and Russell Wilson's the quarterback. And we saw his play this past season because it seems like they're having trouble filling this head coaching vacancy with their top choices.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. You got. Think of the other situations that are available to coaches right now in the league. Would Broncos be your top choice? Would they even be a top half choice for you guys?
I'd rather the Texans, which sounds awful, but like the amount of cap space they have available, I would much rather the Texans.
The thing about coaching for the Broncos is that it could potentially give you a really long leash as a coach. Because, they've already come in and fired one. They've already had the decision of quarterback versus coach, and they fired the coach, right? If you're the coach that comes in now, you got to believe that this time you get the benefit of the doubt. Where, like, if it doesn't work out with Russell Wilson, how can they blame you again? Like, if it's not working with Russell Wilson, you fire the coach, and then it's not working with Russell Wilson, you fire the coach again?
I think you underestimate people's ability to double down.
to triple down this time?
You think
they would triple stamp a double stamp?
I think you're overestimating the humility required to admit that giving Russell Wilson that contract was a mistake. Or, you know what? I'll give them even the benefit of the doubt there. In order for them to win, that contract with Russell Wilson has to not be a mistake. You know what I mean? No matter what's going on, in order for them to win that contract, that decision, that trade, that has to not be a mistake. That can't have been a mistake. So it has to work. So I could still see them blaming the coach.
And then
I agree with the general premise, though. Like, with such a big contract to Russell Wilson, like, they can't afford for them to be wrong on that. So they may just keep saying they're wrong with the coaches if it's not working. Like, I would be scared to take that position. Because what you're saying, I almost see the flip side of it. they're showing that they'll protect Russell Wilson ahead of the head coach. Not that the coach was great, but they're going to go with the quarterback because they freaking paid him, man.
You have to. You have to. You know, that much money.
Tommy said nobody wants to face Mahomes, Herbert, and Stidham.
Stidham.
That's the group of guys.
I was like, as Simon said earlier this week, he was like, yeah, that it's elite quarterback core of the conference championships is like Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy,
Joe Burrow, Josh Johnson.
Forgot Burrow there.
All right, so I managed to pull this up. It took longer than I expected, but Tom Brady versus Eli Manning in the last time the Giants played the Patriots was 2019, but Eli Manning got benched at that point for Daniel Jones. So you have to go back to 2015, and it was a close one, but the Patriots ended up winning 27-26. Which
Sorry, Jay. Eli Manning ended his career a worse quarterback than Tom Brady via the transitive property.
But he went out throwing for 361, 2 touchdowns, and no picks. So something about Eli Manning versus Tom Brady just gets Eli all fired up.
Yeah, he gets worked up.
361 and a couple TDs and no picks, man.
He goes from here to here when he plays Tom Brady.
Another level, dude. Another level.
He wants to show off for his buddy.
The scale is like this.
And then
big.
after the game, I feel like whenever he does a really good job and then when he walks up to Tom Brady, he's like, Tom, did you see how good I did?
I did
Tom's
good,
like,
buddy.
we freaking lost. Like Tom's pissed because they lost, but
like, yeah, whatever.
Fine. He's just like, oh, I can't wait to talk to my friend Tom about what a good job I did today.
Eli do good. Tom's like, yes, Eli do good.
That's the thing I'm most excited about for the Pro Bowl is Eli and Peyton just being goofballs.
Wasn't it Eli and Pete on one side and Snoop and Peyton on the other?
Eli and Pete Davidson on one side, Snoop and Peyton on the other. I like the commercial they have for it too.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't? Where Peyton calls Eli's pants tight?
No, I have not seen Peyton call Eli's pants tight.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a classic big brother move to call your younger brother's pants too tights, I feel like.
Oh yeah, it's good, dude. Peyton picks up the phone and pretends his mom's calling him and likes him better. It's got everything you want to see out of a brother rivalry.
Everything you ever want.
That's pretty much it. Spooky season, it's not about who wins, it's about ring count and accolades. Jalen, year 3, have a Super Bowl and potential Super Bowl MVP. He's at the lowest, second best QB in the league. It's about... for me, quarterback is a accumulation of everything. Right? You can't just do stats, can't just do rings, because there's so much that goes into it mentally that like it's got to be a combination of all of it.
Yeah,
that's my final opinion on quarterbacks.
I agree with that, Coop.
Right? The thing is, I think sometimes guys, like if you look at Aaron Rodgers, sometimes he's been so good that he doesn't even play the fourth quarter. Right? Like how is it better to have Brett Favre throw 1 billion touchdowns, but also 1 billion picks versus a guy that is so good that he, one of the years he was MVP, they said that you could have removed like 2 games and a quarter because so many fourth quarters that he didn't even have to play.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I do think Jalen Hurts is at worst top 5, likely top 3 or 4. Like you can debate between him and Josh Allen probably for that 3 spot right there for the best quarterbacks in the league. But I agree with you, Coop. It's not, you can't just look at accolades and say this is the best quarterback. You can't just look at wins and say this is the best quarterback. There's a lot more that goes on around the quarterback. Exactly. There's a lot that goes on around a quarterback that determines who's the best.
I'm not trying to take anything away from Jalen Hurts.
No, he's an incredible quarterback.
Yeah, incredible quarterback, incredibly talented athlete. He's also in the objectively the best system in the NFL currently.
For sure. I will say this for Jalen Hurts though, is that this year, because before this, he was just a fantasy football quarterback, right? Like you liked the rushing stats and he didn't even need to throw. Now he's transcended that into a good quarterback. Like he's in the Josh Allen tier of mobile quarterback who is also a great quarterback. Because before he was just a guy that can run. Justin Fields is now the new Jalen Hurts in terms of, okay, yeah, we've seen some really fun run plays. But
do it again.
Do it again. Well, I mean, the team was
now
dead
throw it.
Exactly. Now throw it. The team was dead last in passing yards. Let's see you throw it. And Jalen Hurts came out and was like, "Oh yeah, you want to see me spin it? Throw a ball up over the mountains."
Spooky, I don't want you to think I'm throwing disrespect towards Jalen Hurts, because what I'm literally saying is the only quarterbacks I would clearly want over him leading my NFL team are Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. That's it. End of list. Like, then it's a debate between him and Josh Allen. Like, that's the level of respect getting thrown his way. I'm just not crowning him better than Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you guys.
I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes.
It's Patrick Mahomes.
Did you guys see Rich Samini tweeted out that Breece Hall, who said at the end of the season that he was ahead of schedule in his knee rehab, posted a video on Instagram. I think Keith's got it for us.
Ooh, I did not see it.
He's running.
That's
I love
awesome.
that.
I don't know why, JL, but I fully expected it to be a video of him like on the couch, both legs in full casts, like just like it was going to be the switcheroo where he lied to us.
He didn't. He's
That
running.
was so much better. That was pure happiness whenever I saw
Just a
that.
guy
When my
jogging.
expectations were a guy in a body cast.
They got him in one of those like bouncy things that like you put like a toddler in, where it's like they can just
So
bounce
he
around,
can't
but they can't
leave.
get hurt. Yeah, did you notice that?
Yeah.
I did spend too long looking at the belt. I was like, is that securing him in there? Like, because it did look kind of like large around him. Was it just like a barrier, like a shield to stop him from getting out, or was it connected to him?
It looked like it was all the way like a big thing where he was just popping out the top, like the top of a submarine almost.
What if those weren't his legs and that was a screen in the front that they were just playing running legs on?
Green screen in us, dude.
And that's where the belt was to start the screen.
And all right, easy with the conspiracy theories. You sound like Aubrey Huff over there.
What if that's a bouncy house for one person?
What if that's Breece Kitchen instead of Breece Hall?
What if that's Freddie Kitchen?
Stupid.
Have you guys been following the Aubrey Huff conspiracy theory stuff?
I don't know
No,
who that
not
is.
at all.
Aubrey Plaza?
Aubrey
Breece-
Plaza, yeah, Aubrey
Breece
Plaza
Hall?
from Parks and Rec. Yeah. It's Aubrey Huff as a former baseball player who's a well-known jerk. 100%. Like, we're talking about a guy who refused.
Oh, this guy looks like a jerk.
He's a complete jerk. He like refused to recognize, like when they did like the LGBTQ nights, he like refused to recognize those. Now he's spreading conspiracy theories that he's a very serious anti-vaxxer, spreading conspiracy theories that Jamar Hamlin actually died and that they're like pretending like he didn't.
That's that guy who's been spreading these?
Yep. He's fully in on that. He's bought in on that. I mean, like, this is one of his most recent tweets was this. And I know we don't get into politics here, but like with this stuff, it's beyond politics. He says Bill Gates is pumping mRNA vaccines into cattle and into chicken feed, obviously targeting the people who refused his poisonous jab. He will not stop unless we do something about it. I think
Here's what you do with that guy. If you're following him, okay, go click unfollow. If you're not, click mute or block if you're feeling like it, and then just forget people like that exist. Don't even let that into your brain for 2 seconds to even cause anger. It's not worth getting mad about. It is not worth arguing against. You just move forward and let Aubrey Huff yell into his little angry void over on that side of the world.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, and I'm not even saying that like you can have bodily autonomy if you want, not do the vaccine if you don't want to. Like, honestly, that's your call. But once somebody says Bill Gates, then that's when you can remove them from your timeline. Right? Once they say microchip, that's when.
If you're not specifically talking about the history of the Microsoft company and Bill Gates comes up, then you can probably just move forward. Move along with your.
Why is he
an Orioles guy?
Yeah. He played for a few teams, dude.
Side note, I'm a little bit upset that this guy's name is Aubrey, because that's always been one of my favorite names for a guy, because you know what it means? The meaning of Aubrey.
What does it mean?
Drake?
It means
God?
King of the Elves.
King of the Elves. That's
King-
That's not what
so
I
much.
was gonna say.
That's so much better when you think about Drake, right, Chael?
That's so much better. King of the Elves.
King
Yeah.
of the Elves. That's Drake, definitely King of the Elves.
Oh my
this
god.
is simple for King of the Elves.
That's their crown. It's just because their crown's fancy. That's their fancy little crown that just goes on one eye.
OVO.
So funny.
We don't
King
need
of
a
the
lot of
Elves.
crowns. We just need one crown, a fancy little crown.
Like that. I don't like that. Sorry. Too bad Aubrey's poisoning that name with all the stupid takes. Aubrey Huff and Puff.
Joe, you brought up something earlier that we kind of glossed over that I wanted to touch back on, and that was that the Bears supposedly were going to draft Patrick Mahomes, but drafted Mitch Trubisky instead. Do you think we'd have the Patrick Mahomes we have now? Like, do you think it's as big of a mistake as we're thinking it was, or do you think we'd look back and be like, I can't believe they drafted Patrick Mahomes because his spot in Kansas City was the perfect spot, and the Bears were a toxic organization at the time? So I guess let me distill that down into a lot fewer words. Would the Bears have ruined Patrick Mahomes?
It's a good question.
It's cool. There's so much trickle down to it, right? Because think about this. If the Chiefs never had Patrick Mahomes, then Matt Nagy maybe never gets a head coaching job for the Bears because he was the Chiefs offensive coordinator.
It's a good point.
It's hard to say any of that happens. I will say this. The Chiefs made a bold call going for Patrick Mahomes. People forget that team was coming off back-to-back 11-win seasons. And Alex Smith was coming off back-to-back Pro Bowls. And in the year that they drafted Mahomes, Alex Smith started one more year. In that year, they won 9 games, went to the playoffs, and Alex Smith had arguably his best statistical season ever. He threw for like 26 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, ran for over 300 yards, 3,000 yards. Ran for over 3,000 yards. Ran for 3 million yards. But so that's part of the reason why I argue that a team like the Lions, like they have 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. If you like a quarterback, draft him, right? And you don't even have to start him. Start Jared Goff. Start Jared Goff this year. Draft the other quarterback. If Goff is good, you can trade him just like the Chiefs traded Alex Smith. If the other guy sucks, you stick with Goff. It's like, it's not, you don't have to start your quarterback right away, contrary to popular belief. Patrick Mahomes didn't start right away. When he did start, he threw 50 touchdowns. So that's my take on that.
I think that's fair.
Was yes, they would have ruined Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I think that was a yes.
I think
I think I would go for yes as well. And the reason being, I think Andy Reid is a very good coach. I think he's a solid coach, and I think that foundationally he's able to set a good foundation for the team, a good support system, and clearly the Bears didn't have that. So,
and we see the importance of a coach on quarterback play like immediately this year, right? Trevor Lawrence, I don't think it was just a year 1 to year 2 thing. I think they got the stank of Urban Meyer out of there. And Doug Peterson, who's a known good quarterback coach, turns Trevor Lawrence into one of the hottest names in the NFL QB game, right? All of a sudden, the end of this year, Trevor Lawrence looks like one of the top QBs in the league. It's coaching. Yeah. It's coaching. It comes down to coaching right there. So while that's a fun story to think about the what ifs, like Patrick Mahomes going to the Bears, what probably happens is maybe we're robbed of some of this fun that is Patrick Mahomes on the Chiefs. We're lucky that we get to watch Patrick Mahomes on the Chiefs. I don't think he peters out like Mitch Trubisky. I think he still has an NFL career, but it's not going to be the Patrick Mahomes we're used to seeing down here in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Not at all. Guys, coming up, we are going to answer some questions from our friends over at Reddit. We've got a game of master debaters coming up. Jalen and Coop are going to face off head-to-head in formal debates. We're going to play some Quotey McQuote face as well. And then at the end of the show, we're going to teach you some things we've learned recently in the Moreau You Know. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Front Yard Fantasy with Simon, JL, and Coop.
Sell me on doing away with the 2-conference system in the NFL.
Is it really a sale whenever this is something that's commonly agreed upon? I'm selling you on water being wet. I'm selling you on something that is objectively true right here. We look at teams at the end of the season and we go, how the hell does one team have such an easy schedule while another team is just absolutely getting obliterated? And that's because of the 2-conference system, because the division system feeds into this conference system. It's a symptom of the greater problem. Like these divisional matchups, you're telling me it's fair that the Buccaneers are in the playoffs after playing the Panthers twice, the Falcons twice, and the Saints twice this year? That is unbelievable. There are multiple more deserving teams every single year that, because of this system where we silo them into random groups, it determines the order. And yes, originally this was geography based, right? We had these divisions, they were geography. It's 2023, my dudes. Geography doesn't matter whenever it comes to the size of the United States. These teams can travel anywhere. They don't need to geographically locate them in divisions or conferences to make the games make more sense. If USC can be in the Big Ten, why the hell can't Miami play San Francisco every year? It can happen. They've got more money than these colleges and they're not taking classes. All it does is create an ecosystem where less talented teams can get rewarded for playing in weaker divisions and more talented teams are punished for continuing to improve.
Damn, bro.
Drop the mic.
I like to picture some geography teacher out there just threw a pen on the ground. He was like, how dare you? He smacked the globe. He was like, what do you
all
mean?
the hard work we've done.
2023, geography doesn't matter, right? Smacks his
You know
globe.
how long it took for us to get respect?
Globe goes spinning around, right? Geography doesn't matter. How dare
I'm
you?
just imagining they ripped on the world map and underneath is algebra 2. Like they just go straight into being a math teacher.
Yeah.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Paper straws. Oh, they're so bad. Ray, I mean, I'm almost tempted to say screw Mother Earth. Give me a real straw. The paper straw thing is a step too far in saving the planet for me.
It's a great idea. The problem is it has to last. Like it can't go mushy halfway through my drink.
That's
And
the
I think
problem.
That's the problem. They have a hard time standing up if you don't drink that.
100%.
drink.
That's my issue, Ray. I'm all for taking care of the only planet we got. But Ray, some people like to drive a lot. I don't. I don't get on them for they have to drive 20 minutes to work every day. Can I just get a plastic straw? Like, I think, Ray, we should be able to pay for a card that says, I don't drive every day, so they said I could have this kind of environmental impact by getting a plastic straw. I am in favor, Ray, of government-issued plastic straws if I have the proof that I'm worthy of such a thing. If you want it, you get it. It's kind of like the Clear Pass. You know,
Yeah,
at the
there you go.
airport.
Okay.
Like, Ray, I'd be willing to pay an extra $2 a year, and I get as many plastic straws as I want when I go out to the restaurant.
And the $2 goes toward cleaning the oceans or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's not a terrible idea. Not terrible.
Call, chat, enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We got Dustin in the chat saying, good morning, Simon and JL. What's up,
Morning.
Dustin? Welcome.
Still mad at me about moving the Bills to Toronto, I see.
The Toronto Bills.
I'm not even going to say it out loud, city plus team name, because I'm afraid of getting on Dustin's shit list. The Buffalo Bills, who are from Buffalo and should stay in Buffalo.
Does sound like a
Never
swear
go
word.
north. to
But
Toronto.
sorry, Tommy, I'm all in on the Mexico City Raiders. That's where I'm going.
Dustin knows that we can't. Mexico City Raiders sounds awesome, by the way.
Right?
It's
That
got a nice
sounds
ring to
sick.
it.
It sounds sick.
Mexico
MC
City
Raiders.
Yeah. The thing is that Terry Pegula, the owner of the Bills and also the owner of the Sabres, like he made a big deal about keeping the Bills in Buffalo. So he's not going to move them. That's why we can joke about it. He's done right by the fans. He's not moving that team.
While there's tables left to be smashed in Buffalo, the Bills ain't going anywhere. Ain't that
Ain't
right?
going nowhere.
Not until every table smashed.
And let me tell you, we make tables pretty quick up here in Buffalo.
Just about
Table
as quick as you
free.
can smash them.
Just about.
Soon as
I
we
like
get
the
them,
idea that
as soon as we
inevitably
get them,
one day, the assembly line, at the end of the assembly line, there's just a guy in a Bills jersey with his face painted who, like, as soon as it comes off, just jumps off a ladder and jumps straight into
Smashes.
it.
that's a commercial. That's a commercial from the company that makes them. They encourage people to smash them. As soon as we get them up, we get them down.
Dustin said the London Jets. That just doesn't sound right. Something about that doesn't sound right.
London Jets. The London Jaguars sounds right. The London Jaguars.
London
Jaguars.
Jaguars.
The London Jaguars from our summer collection.
Because I
Summer
thought,
collection.
I thought, yesterday we played the WEddle. We had some hiccups, but we got the player. I think we give it another shot today. We tackle it. Everybody, let's make sure we're not on the WEddle Unlimited. We are on the WEddle Daily that we got right there, the WeddleGame.com. Let's try to guess this player. We're going to do the normal mode and see if we can get it.
Normal mode.
You guys ready?
Dark mode.
JL?
WeddleGame.com.
Not available.
WeddleGame.com.
Dark mode coming soon.
All right. Who we going with first, boys?
You take the first player today. Coop,
I guess
you took the
yesterday.
First player yesterday. You take the first player today.
All right, let's go with an extreme. Let's go with Derrick Henry.
Whoa. So
Derrick
strong.
Henry.
Derrick.
Okay. If you guys want to follow along at home, we are playing the WEddle. You can play along with us. If you don't want to play along with us, mute us real quick, but stick around. The team is wrong. The division, wrong. Nothing yellow. The position, wrong. The height is close. They are shorter than 6'3", but it is yellow. The age is correct. It is a 29-year-old player, and their number is
29.
lower than 22. Lower than 22.
Lower than 22.
Not close.
What's DeAndre
It
Hopkins'
said-
number? Is
wait,
10.
It says, number. I was thinking age, and I was like, that's
How
not-
tall is DeAndre Hopkins? Is he 6'3"?
Shorter than, I think he's 6'2".
I think he
I
might be
think
the
he's,
next
I
pick.
think he's 6'2".
I was
think
just
he's
looking at a player
number
yesterday
10.
who I was just looking at a player yesterday who I know is 25. Oh wait, he's not in the
29.
AFC.
Not in the
Yeah.
AFC.
So the player I was gonna
It's
say
right.
is Stephon
DeAndre
Diggs.
Hopkins.
Try Hopkins.
You were going to go Diggs. Yeah, but Diggs is in the AFC.
He's in
I'm
the
with you,
AFC.
Dale. I think we go DeAndre Hopkins here. It fits a
Get
lot of
him.
the criteria.
Get
Okay.
him in there.
Oh, he's 30. He's 30 years old now.
He
He must
just
have just
switched.
turned 30.
A little stinker.
What a
The height
coward.
is correct, though. And then this player is in the NFC, but not in the NFC West. It is not a wide receiver. The number is lower than 10. I'm guessing this is a quarterback.
6'1" on the dot though is a little short for a quarterback.
I agree, but it's not a tight end.
And it's not
a running back.
absurd for a quarterback.
Yeah, that's
It
true.
would be a little bit more absurd for a tight end than it would be for a quarterback, right? A 6'1"
Yeah.
tight end.
Actually, yeah, it's definitely not a tight end.
So it's got to be a
Um,
quarterback.
It was NFC West that he wasn't.
Right, but
NFC
they
West.
are in the NFC. So an
So
NFC
North,
quarterback.
South, or East.
How old is Geno? He's older than 29.
I think he's older than 29.
How about Dak? We just said Dak was 29 earlier in the show.
And I
That
think he's 6'1". And he's got a
Oh,
quarterback
Rain?
number. You guys want to try Dak?
get him
He's
in
number
there.
4.
Number 4.
Get him in.
Let's go for it. Dak Prescott. Okay, everything is right except for the height. He is 6'2" and the
What?
team. This player is in the NFC East. They are a quarterback. They are under 6'2". They are 29, and their number is 4.
It's got to be
Daniel Jones.
Wentz.
No, he's 8. Who's a quarterback number 4 in the NFC East?
Wentz?
That's what I
Heineke?
said. Wentz. Well, I think Wentz would be correct.
Wentz is
29.
tall. Wentz is a big boy, isn't he?
Heineke then.
Heineke.
Heineke.
I think it's got to be Heineke.
He number 4?
I
think
don't know.
so.
We'll find out. It was
he's
Taylor
number 4.
Heineke. We got it, baby. Taylor Heineke is the correct
Wow.
answer. Nice job, guys. That one was a little bit tricky, but
That was
getting down
quick,
to the
though.
also the number of things that those two players have in common was kind of crazy. That their number is the same, their age is the same, position, conference. That we got so close with Dak, but weren't yet there.
Taylor Heineke is Dak.
Taylor
Dak
Heineke.
is Taylor Heineke.
Taylor
Hard to
Heineke's
argue,
just
hard to
1 inch
argue with that
shorter.
logic.
1 inch shorter Dak. Amazing.
1 inch shorter
how,
Dak.
how much difference that inch makes.
Is he 1 inch better, you think?
I think he's 1 inch better than Taylor Heineke for sure.
Minimum.
At a bare minimum. Nice work, guys. That one went a little bit smoother
Well
than
done.
yesterday. Probably helped that
Yeah.
we were looking at the right thing. What do you think?
Yeah.
That helps, I think.
We had some guesses in the chat. Jay said Daniel Jones. Then he said, never mind, didn't hear the age. And then Jay said Wentz is 2. So we did not have 2. And then
Good call. I
Tommy,
probably would have went with Daniel Jones. Good call on the number 8 there.
and Tommy in the chat was guessing the Commanders QB. If only I could have typed that in, but you got it, nailed it. And then said Dakota Rain Heineke.
Dakota Rain Heineke.
What do you
Sounds
think
like a
Taylor
Coldplay
Heineke's
song.
middle name is? Dakota. Sing Dakota Rain Heineke. I went to go for it and realized my Coldplay voice is not up to snuff.
Dakota. And then bail.
Yeah, it was just a completely wrong Coldplay voice.
Rain's actually his first name, though.
Rain Dakota Heineke.
Dakota.
Rain Wilson.
What do you think Taylor Heineke's middle name is? Take a guess, Jay.
Philip.
Coop?
Do you know what it is? Is it Peter?
Why are we all going P's? Because my immediate thought was Paul. Like, without a doubt, I was
Paul?
like, this guy's middle name is Paul.
Philip.
Let's see. Taylor Heineke, middle name. Maybe he doesn't have one. It doesn't say anywhere.
It didn't say on. I looked at Wikipedia. It didn't have it.
Usually it has
You
it on
little cheater.
Wikipedia. Well,
Looks
his
like I tried
dad's
to
name
cheat,
was
but my
Brett.
source didn't have the answer.
So if we assume his middle name is the same as his dad's first name, then his middle name is Brett. But that's a really big assumption to me.
That's quite a stretch.
Ace
thing is,
want to make
the thing is, some German families and German names, they don't have middle names. Like my mom doesn't have a middle name. She's super German. Sherry Strauss, no middle name. So maybe they're just German enough where they don't care about middle names, dude. You get 2 names, that's it.
Also, I see someone in the chat saying that's a leap. Yes, yeah, that is a leap. That is quite the leap right there.
That's German efficiency right there, dude. No extra. You don't need any of all these crazy names.
Nylon Burning said Dak is ass. Damn. Brutal. Throwing shade to Dak.
It's funny where it's like I was looking at all the quarterbacks drafted in the 3rd round, and like the 3rd and 4th round, and the list is terrible. And if you start saying like, what if Dak isn't that good and Russell Wilson aren't that good? Now there's like no good quarterbacks that were drafted in the 3rd round.
Give me some names. Who we got in there?
I have it right here, my friend.
Smudge Peterson.
Smudge Peterson. Drafted in the 3rd round, 1923.
Jay said Brooks' middle name is my middle name, so solid thought process. See, it can happen. 1 out of every 50 people, you might get their middle name right if you follow my strategy.
There you have it.
Well, guys, I think while Coop's looking that up,
I got it right here. So here are the names of quarterbacks drafted in the 3rd round. I think Dak is a 4th round pick. But here I just pulled up the 3rd round before. So he's a 4th round pick. Here are the 3rd round quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, and this is sorted by career fantasy points for quarterbacks drafted in the last 30 years. Number 1, Russell Wilson. Number 2, Matt Schaub. Number 3,
wow.
Neil, yeah, exactly, right off the bat. Number 3, Neil O'Donnell. Number 4, Brian Greasy. Josh McCown, Nick Foles, Jacoby Brissett, Colt McCoy, Mike Glennon. Top 10 on this list is Trent Edwards. That's we know this list is pretty rough. Terrell Pryor, guys like Charlie Whitehurst, Mason Rudolph, and there's nobody even on the list that, the guy on this list that has the best chance to make an impact is Davis Mills. There's nobody even up and coming that just doesn't have a lot of points so far. So pretty rough.
As you were reading that, it was a lot of names that I hoped would be something, or that I hoped were going to turn it on, or as they came in as the backup, there were glimmers of hope. You just kept reading names where every time I heard that name for the NFL, it was like, maybe this is the year. Maybe they put it together.
Ryan Mallett.
Maybe. No.
You
didn't have too long to think maybe for that one.
Yeah. Well, I'll check 4th round now, but give me a second to pull it up. Go on. Move on.
Guys, coming up, we are going to answer some questions from Reddit. We're going to have Coop and JL face off head-to-head in some master debaters. We've got some Quotey McQuote face that we're going to play, and then we're going to teach you a little something about what we've learned this past week in the Moreau You Know. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra.
Your 2023 prediction on the promo that we play was the Lakers was going to make the playoffs and beat somebody in the 1st round.
Hey, I hope we match up against Memphis.
That's not going to happen.
I hope we match up against Memphis.
And you'll get swept.
Ain't no way we get swept.
Sweep them. The Memphis Grizzlies would be swept. They would be laughing at them.
If the Grizzlies if the Lakers make the playoffs with AD healthy, Westbrook off the bench, and LeBron, everybody's healthy, they will beat the Memphis Grizzlies 100%.
We will be on Lucra betting on that game right
100%.
now. All right, Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra. Lucra is redefining friendly competition. Compete in the games you play and the sports you watch with Lucra. Download the Lucra app right now to create a contest and bet against your friends in as little as 15 seconds. Use the promo code BSM when you sign up to receive a free $5 to play with. Winning is fun, and beating your friends is even better.
Lucra is redefining friendly competition. Download the Lucra app today to challenge your friends and win money.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. JL will be right back with us. He had to go sort his Pokemon card collection. He's got an appraiser coming over later today, and he had to get it all sorted. There were some finishing touches he needed to put on his holographics, but he should be right back any minute now.
Yeah, he only has 7 cards, but he's sorting them alphabetically and not that great with the alphabet, so it could take him a little bit.
It's the LMNOP part that always trips him up.
He's like, which one is Elemento?
It just gets him every single time. Elemento.
So I got those 4th round quarterbacks up here. I mentioned Dak Prescott is on the list. He's number 2. So this is the highest scoring fantasy point quarterbacks going back 30 years, right? Dak Prescott's number 2 on the list. Number 3 on the list, Aaron Brooks. So number 3 on the list, Aaron Brooks. Number 4, David Garrard for the Jaguars quarterback.
This is all time.
This is last 30 years. And then
so
basically, yeah. Number 5 is Kyle Orton. Number 1 is an active quarterback. Do you know who that would be? More career fantasy points than Mr. Dak Prescott. 4th round quarterback.
4th round quarterback, more career fantasy points than Dak Prescott. Is it an older veteran or is it a younger guy? It's got to be probably a little bit older.
He's a little bit older, but not
probably not. Yeah, I'm not thinking like
yeah, he's not like crazy old, but he's older.
I'm running through quarterbacks and I'm blanking. Is it? I don't know. Let me know who it is.
It's Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins. I feel like I could have gotten there. That makes sense.
So if you expand the list to all time, Kirk Cousins is still number 1. He has the most all-time fantasy points for a quarterback drafted in the 4th round. Number 2 on that list would be Sonny Jurgensen, obviously. Number 3, Rich Gannon, Tommy's Raiders. Number 4 is Dak Prescott. Number 5 would be Joe Theismann. So if you expand it to all time, there are some names people recognize, but number 6 is like Steve Berline, and then 7 is Aaron Brooks. So the list doesn't get too crazy if you extend to all time. But yeah. 3rd and 4th round, not really a pot of gold when it comes to quarterbacks.
I was going to say, it looks like maybe teams have gotten better at evaluating quarterbacks, and the good ones go in the first couple rounds now. Like that's what that list tells me. Whenever you expand it to all time instead of last 30 years, is that the ability to evaluate quarterbacks has gotten much better in that time frame. Guys, I think it's time we help our friends over at Reddit out. It's been a minute. They've got so many questions. We're only able to hit a couple a week, but I think it's time we gave them a little bit of help. JL, did you usually check in with them every once in a while, see what they're asking?
Yeah, I like to check in with Reddit from time to time. You know, they're my people. Those are my people over there. Weird, but I love them.
My people.
Very, very weird.
This is where I come from.
And this is where we're going.
Nailed it.
Is that the same? Is that a real song that you're singing, or are you making it up?
Yeah, you got the next line perfectly.
I mean, were we making it up?
Yeah, that was fully improv, every line of that song.
Nice. All right. Reddit has questions. You ready, Coop?
Yes.
All right. What villain was terrifying because they were right? Reddit asks.
What villain was terrifying because they were right? I have an immediate... Oh, you go first, JL.
I also have an immediate thought on this one, and it's my my longtime you could say that me and this character go way back, but it's Thanos. It's Thanos. Because as scary as it is, overpopulation is a serious threat. It's a serious threat in our universe, specifically our Earth. So he's terrifying, but he's also right.
His solution, incorrect.
Probably incorrect, yes.
To just kill half the people. But you're right. That's what makes it scary. You can't argue against like his premise. It's just the way he's going about solving it.
Right.
It makes him right. Yeah. I think that's probably like the best example where like there is real fear behind it. Like we have to say Thanos here. You can't have this conversation without mentioning Thanos.
Yeah.
He probably was the one that spawned the question.
He wrote this in here. Which villain is terrifying? Because they were right. Me.
Thanos with his rings. Yeah. Just clinging away. Who is actually right? You know.
I think the one that came to mind immediately for me, it was one of the bad guy teams from the Pokemon series of games, and that is Team Magma and Team Aqua. They were environmentalists concerned about the degradation of our land and sea because of human overuse of those resources. But the way they went about it, trying to summon ancient godlike Pokemon to reset the earth to a state where humans no longer ran it, was a little bit terrifying, right? They're trying to completely like wipe the face of the earth, but their reasonings, like, we are not taking care of the environment, of the land, of the water. So I agree with their reasonings, but Team Magma and Team Aqua, if they were successful, that is a terrifying plan. But I don't disagree with why they were doing it.
Which one were they in?
I think they were Pearl and Diamond, if I'm remembering correctly, but
Explains
I
why I
could be
don't remember
remembering the
that
game
much.
wrong.
Because I played those a long time ago.
And, let's see. No,
Who
they
we got?
were in Hoenn. What generation was Hoenn?
Hoenn, every generation.
Hoenn was Sapphire, Emerald, and Ruby. That was the generation that Team Magma and Team Aqua were in. That makes sense with Emerald and Sapphire, or with Sapphire and Ruby. Colors check out.
Right.
Now, you got one?
This one maybe a little controversial, I would say, but at times this is how it pans out in the world. Like, for instance, in real life, we're on the side of democracy versus communism, or at least we were in the past as Americans. And whoever won that one was probably going to write the book on which side is cool and which side is not cool. And if you really dig into the Star Wars universe, the dark side was also trying to bring balance to the Force. Like, the dark side was also trying, like the light side was trying to win, and the dark side was also trying to win. And had the dark side won, I mean, there wouldn't have been any more battles, right? Like, the dark side would have just won. The Jedi would have been the bad guys. And if you watch those movies, it kind of jumps back and forth on who's the bad guys and who's not. You know what I mean?
There's a long period of time where the Jedi were gone, right? And the dark side had one.
Pretty peaceful times, it seemed, right? You know,
Depends on who you are.
Depends who you are.
Peaceful for the Empire.
Well, if you kill all of your enemies, then it gets pretty peaceful.
Pretty peaceful around here.
It's pretty peaceful around here.
Thanos also peaceful at the end of those movies.
History is often written by the winners. So I'm just saying, Sith Lords, kind of mean.
So Coop, your answer is all of them.
All of the
villains are terrifying because they were all right.
Had they won,
all the successful ones,
things would have been pretty cool for the villains. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, some of them aren't even trying to take over the world. Like, my first thought was Mr. Freeze. If anybody watched those, especially like the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, like, he wasn't really. You kind of feel bad for the guy. He's like just trying to bring his life back. You know what I mean? Oh my God, you freeze Robin and you kill a couple cops or whatever. But, like, in theory, like, he was just a sad dude that wanted his wife back,
Yeah, that's how a lot of these characters are just have some relatable core. We got Tim in the chat said the Joker just hated rich people, and that's pretty relatable. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. And he also said Mojo Jojo just wanted to make clean energy, I think. He's just a really big green thumb, I guess.
Is that true?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I'm believing it is canon now.
Yeah, it is 100% canon. NKC in here said, good morning. Good morning, NKC.
What up,
Joey
NKC?
Said,
welcome in.
Dustin.
Joey said innocent construction workers and service industry people died on the Death Star.
Yeah, but whose fault was that? Whose fault was that, dude? That was
I don't know.
That was Luke's fault, dude.
Hard to tell.
Shooting Womp.
It was Luke's fault shooting it up for
Luke
trying to stop it.
He killed a lot of people on the Death Star.
He killed a lot of enablers.
Luke killed
a lot of enablers, if nothing else. A lot of
Luke
enablers.
probably killed more people than anybody else, dude.
Probably more than the Death Star that killed an entire planet.
You know, there are some engineers that were just chilling. Actually, Star Wars did manage to go back and rewrite that, and because like Rogue One is basically saying that the engineers they didn't want to design the Death Star, so that actually does prove that like the engineers were good guys. You know, they covered
they were duped.
Jay
said Killmonger was right in Black Panther. He was actually the first villain that came to mind because he has got to be one of the more relatable villains in a popular movie lately. You agree with his cause. You sympathize with him.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. I'm not remembering the plot of the movie enough to say that I fully agreed with his plot, but I remember sympathizing with him during the movie. Like, not
his dad gets killed, like when he's like a little kid, and like living in the projects, and he and then he gets on this vengeance. He goes to the military, learns how to kill because he knows that his dad is from this hidden country that has essentially from his perspective, outcast him and his family and left them, abandoned them.
Yeah.
Can I change my answer? I just thought of the best answer.
What?
The principal in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
That's fair.
He did nothing wrong. In fact, he was just trying to make sure that Ferris and Cameron would go to class. Like, you know what I mean?
Totally being nice, being the normal teacher.
Yeah, like Ferris Bueller is the bad guy, really, if you think about it. He was up to no good.
I feel like there was a sitcom that talked about that. Can't remember what it was. Maybe New Girl or something.
It's funny. The more I think about it with stuff like that, I can tell I'm getting older because I'll read like Calvin and Hobbes, and I'll be like, "This Calvin is kind of a punk."
He's always getting into something.
Yeah, right. When I was a kid, I was like, "Yeah,
just relax."
Can we just get a? When I was a kid, I was like, "Can we just get a snow day?" And now I like see the dad, and I'm like, "Man, dude can't even ride his bike in peace.
Can't chill at all." I thought of one more. In fact, there was an entire musical made about the premise that this villain maybe wasn't such a bad person. And that's the Wicked Witch of the West from The Wizard of Oz. Dorothy straight up murdered her sister and then stole her sister's shoes off of her dead body. Right? Like that is how that movie begins, is with Dorothy crushing the Wicked Witch of the West sister with her house and then stealing her sparkly shoes.
Kill somebody with a house, man.
And then we're going to sit here and be like, how dare she be pissed at Dorothy?
I feel like Wicked changed my entire perspective on narrative because it was like the first time I feel like anyone was like, "What? Whoo! Look at it this way."
Yeah. Wait till my Star Wars spinoff comes out.
Where the Jedi are the bad guys. Yoda is really just the ultimate puppet master.
You could turn Yoda mean. He gets mean in one of them.
Clone Wars, the animated series. There are moments where they kind of show that the Jedis themselves are not like the beacon of all that is good. They're not infallible, right? They show those weaknesses multiple times throughout the series. Like, there are points to be made on the other side. The Jedi are not infallible, and they will make mistakes trying to follow the law that they set. Like, there are proofs that not just the Jedi, but that the Jedi system are not infallible.
Okay, yeah. Also, if you watch some of those Clone Wars, you'll realize that like all the Sith bad guys are super badass, like Cad Bane, and then
they're pretty sick.
The guys are kind of cool.
dude,
Grievous
is actually tolerable.
Grievous is the
unlike
man.
Him in Clone Wars, where
they did him
like so annoying to watch.
They did him so dirty in the movies.
He's just coughing the whole time. It's so annoying.
Sucks. Yeah, he's the man in those, dude. I gotta watch all those. I've only seen part of the Clone Wars. I gotta get back in there.
Good.
We should do a rewatch, and then the whole time it's like we'll talk about it each day on the show, and it'll just be Coop like sympathizing with the with the dark side.
Well, Ahsoka's kind of annoying.
All right, boys, let's get into our next question from Reddit here. Reddit asks, what are some harmless ways to F with people?
I've got one that I did to my buddy at our old mortgage job that almost became harmful. But
That sounds harmless.
So we would get in the office, we would drive together to work, and then every day he would go make a coffee. So I knew that I had like 5-10 minutes every morning to mess with him. So on April Fool's one day, he logged into his computer, I logged into mine. He went to the coffee place. I went to his computer and I hit control print screen and screenshotted the background on his computer. And then I made the background of his computer a picture of all his icons. And then I right click and I hid the icons. So then he's on there just clicking everything. And he's like, it's not working. And I'm like, oh man,
Yes.
did you try restarting it? He restarts it, right? And then dude,
Same thing happens.
here's the best part, right? He restarts it, same thing happens. Out of nowhere, this older guy from across the office goes, oh dude, that happens to me all the time, man. It sucks. He goes, that's a hardware problem. And he's like, what do you mean? He goes, you got to take the back off your computer and spray out the inside with canned air. And the funniest part is that dude a week ago had just for some reason taken the back of his computer off and was like cleaning his computer with a thing of canned air. And he's like, that's what I was doing like a week ago. He goes, here's a screwdriver. And my buddy legit started unscrewing the back of his computer. And
So
I
you're
was
watching
like,
him.
I was
Did you
like,
stop him?
stop. I was like, stop. Do not take your computer apart.
You should have let him keep going.
It got pretty close. I was like, do not take your computer apart. Right? Like, we got work to do today. Here's what I did. But yeah, so that's a harmless prank you can pull on people.
That's hilarious. I like that one.
I like whenever I think of like harmless ways to mess with someone, I'm primarily thinking of strangers. And the goal is I want it to be something that they mention to somebody else later. Know what I mean? Like nothing that bothers them, but where it was enough of like a memory, that thing that happened, that they bring it up like the weirdest thing happened when I was out today, or I heard somebody say the weirdest thing. And I think the easiest way to do that is just when you're walking, like in a city or in a store and you're with someone else, say things that are slightly off, just a little bit too loud. Know what I mean? Not super loud. Like if you're walking past someone and like I'm with my girlfriend, I could just look at her and be like, you left me for someone thick. And then you just like say that as you're walking past a group of people. And then they're left with that statement of a guy walking, holding hands with his girlfriend, looking at her saying, you left me for someone thick. Like add that little pause. It's all about like the small details and things like that. Just something to make them maybe turn their head. Like, I wonder what that conversation was about.
How frequently do you do this, Simon?
I don't know, semi-regularly. Usually it happens if I'm about to say something that I think would be a little bit embarrassing for others to hear and I hesitate. Then I'm like, no, say it louder. Just like say it a little bit louder. You don't know them. Like let them hear it. That's okay if they hear the slightly embarrassing thing. It's fine.
I was doing that to my wife in Target just the other day. I was just like,
so you were doing it with the goal of embarrassing your wife, not of like say a funny
no,
thing.
I was embarrassing myself though. I was like, I was like, we need to get deodorant. I'm having a bad smell day. Like with people walking by me.
Bad smell day.
Tommy said
That's
ignore
hilarious.
all of their emails.
I like that. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, let's try that one.
I'm gonna try that one. Simon, I like that. I like that you're just giving these people these like stories. Like they're gonna go home and be like, "Oh my god, you got it! You won't believe." They're gonna go on their morning show the next morning and be like, "You guys will not believe what happened yesterday while walking in the street."
Right? You just got to give them a little morsel. Nothing crazy. Nothing where they're gonna stop and ask you a question or like figure it out. But it's the same premise as like a loud fart in public where you like everyone else knows it was you. It's the same kind of premise. Know what I mean? Like it's not really hurting anyone, but they're gonna mention it
Always
later.
blame it on
Like,
someone
like
else.
God, I was walking through Kohl's and this guy ripped the nastiest fart. Like that's a funny way to mess with people.
That's a great, like that's such a that's a gift that man's given to the world, though. You know what I mean? Like
or woman,
man or woman. He's taking he's sacrificing himself for the humor of others because farts are generally funny. There are times where, like, if you're in the elevator,
and self-deprecating.
Yeah, if you're in an elevator, not as funny, but like,
or an airplane.
No,
yeah,
if
airplane,
you're in the
funny.
elevator, it's funnier. If I'm in the elevator, it's not as funny.
Exactly. Yeah, but that's just a little gift that you can give to the world.
My harmless way to F with people is truly one of my favorite. Maria can attest to this. It's while driving the car. because the car is truly one of the best places to mess with people because they can't really do anything without committing a felony. And so my harmless way of having with people is whenever someone's following a little too closely behind me, hit them with the windshield wiper fluid for an extended period of time, multiple times, over and over again. So they're behind you. You hit the windshield wiper fluid for like 10 seconds. All of a sudden, you wait for it. You start to see
They gotta do
from behind. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. Wait like a nice 5 seconds. Hit him again. And then they're, this guy, how many times is this guy going to wash his window? He's going slow and washing his window. Why won't he speed up? And I'm up there just losing it laughing. So when they speed by, I'm red in the face, dying laughing. And then they have that moment of realization of, I just got effed with. That dude was just effing. That dude was effing with me.
They got to, yeah. That's when they realized, like, hey, if you gave me a little more space, your car wouldn't be getting all wet. My buddy in high school had a Jeep. I think it was a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and he could. They had the back windshield wipers, but he could take the little nozzle and just turn it so it was just spray. He could just spray a line straight.
Just a water
back.
gun. He had
a water gun on his car. Yeah,
that's dope.
Yeah, that's
awesome. I've never wanted anything more in my life.
JL, you would have abused that move.
Oh, 100%.
He also did.
Tim in here saying, always say, huh? In the middle of somebody saying something, so they have to start again. Oh my God, that would drive me insane.
I would walk away.
That would drive me insane. And Joey said, texting your friends to say turkey baster to say on a morning show to see who takes the bait first. Yeah, that sounds like a good hypothetical one. And then Dustin said, really long zip tie on their drive shaft makes them think something is really wrong with their car.
What's the drive shaft?
That doesn't sound harmless, but I also don't know much about cars. So
I'll take your word for it.
Good. I'll add one more. It's kind of in theme with Coops. It's another simple computer themed one. But if you have someone who uses a mouse every time they use their computer, just go into their settings and switch the right click to left click and left click to right click. And it's so simple. They figure it out pretty quickly. But at first, every time they click, all of a sudden, just that left click menu or the right click menu is just going to keep popping up and popping up and popping up. It's infuriating. And if you're feeling extra malicious, yeah, or just move their things.
Just rearrange their stuff.
That's the 101. The number one way to subtly fuck with someone is if you pull into a gas station or something and they go in to move the restroom, just move the car around the corner. Not very far, just to a different parking spot. They're going to find you in about 5 seconds, but you get to watch. Exactly, Joe. You get to watch them walk out of the gas station, look around.
Look at the phone.
And then have the moment of looking up and like, what the hell? And then they walk over to you.
I'm having way too much fun thinking about these. I'm 100% going to turn this into a bit now.
Well, let's have Keith go around and do as many as he can throughout.
Yes,
Central Park. What do you say?
In
Keith?
his underpants.
Well, I think if he's in his underpants, he could get in a little more trouble. Got to keep it harmless.
He said sure, and it was after I said underpants, so he's in.
He's in.
Let's pull up that actual Reddit thread and pull some out of there too, and we'll keep execute.
Yes, yeah, that's a good idea. All right, Reddit's got a few more questions for us if you guys are willing to answer.
I think we got time for one or two more.
All right. You can spawn. Reddit asks, you can spawn 1 pound of anything 2 times a year into the palm of your hand. What are you choosing?
You can spawn
1 pound of anything 2 times a year into the palm of your hand. What are you choosing?
Okay, so this kind of reminds me of like the each of your fingers can shoot a liquid. What liquid would they be? Question. Know what I mean? Like
ketchup and mustard.
I will fight you. That's disgusting.
1 pound.
Just be a freaking menace running around squirting mustard everywhere. I'm Spider-Man. No, I'm not. I'm Spagooter Man.
Spagooter Man. So yeah, if you could spawn 1 pound of anything 2 times a year into the palm of your hand, what are you choosing?
Okay, let's get the chalk answer out of the way. Like gold. You'd be rich. Yeah. Let's just go ahead and say gold, so no one says it. Gold.
Diamonds.
Like diamonds, wealth.
Right, yeah.
Like,
you can't pick that, dude. But I'm thinking what's most fun.
We of course would want wealth in our hands, right? Like, so
whoever asked this Reddit question, I'm sure already thought of gold and diamonds.
Right. What would be the best way to mess with people, dude? If I could do like glitter. It's just like having an argument.
Combine the two questions. How can I F with people if I can spawn 1 pound of something in my palm twice a year?
Having an argument with somebody at the mall, and I'm just like, hold on. Just glitter bombed.
Just like a nice little like bathroom dry, like hand dryer level of air of glitter coming at their face.
Ernie spawning 1 pound of USB drives with an infinite amount of Bitcoin on it. Yeah, Ernie, we already did things that are worth a lot of money, right?
I think I'm doing. Let's see. Dustin said a pound of gold is worth $22,372. A pound of $100 bills is worth $45,400.
Oh, so Dustin, I feel like that's a smart approach here. If you're going to go the wealth route, is you got to find the cheapest or the most expensive, lightest thing.
Pound of eggs these days. Pound of eggs these days is probably worth about the same as that gold.
Gold eggs.
I mean, Tommy has a good idea. A pound. What if you had a pound of season tickets to NFL, to like just in general, like professional sporting league season tickets? And I just said,
still probably less than gold.
I get a pound of them twice a year. And like, maybe I don't get the Spurs this season. Oh, shoot. Know what I mean?
What about
like
a pound of Taylor Swift tickets?
That might be, dude. That might be worth more than the 100. That's definitely
like a couple grand each, aren't they?
Yeah. Wow, dude. But would you have the entire venue worth of tickets?
Yeah, just be Taylor Swift and you in a giant arena.
That'd be kind of tight, dude.
You just keep it. I don't even need to sell it. You just use them all.
You're just sitting there. She comes out screaming. You're like, "Hey, Taylor."
She's like, "Hey, Simon."
Just singing. It's like, "Shake it up." It's just you in the crowd just dancing.
Yeah, you're out there. You're like,
of the rarest documents lost in the Library of Alexandria.
And that's probably worth quite a bit.
I'm trying to think of what song would be the most weird if it's just you and Taylor Swift, but it's probably that new one she has. It's like just you and her, and you're in the crowd. You're like, "I'm the problem. It's me. It's me."
Dustin asking, what would you make the other hosts have appear in their hands? He said, I would make Coop tomatoes. I would make tomatoes appear.
Coop tomatoes.
I will make Coop tomatoes.
Coop tomatoes.
I will turn Coop into tomatoes.
Oh, more tomatoes.
He said, I would make tomatoes appear in Coop's hand just so he has to eat them. Simon, I would spawn toilet paper because he probably needs it in that moment.
I would
spawn
a
I'm bad at planning ahead with toilet paper because I got two different bathrooms, 2 different places where it goes.
It's tough. It's really tough.
I would spawn a well-rounded breakfast for JL out of respect to his mother.
That's a good answer. My mother appreciates it.
Well-rounded breakfast.
My mind
immediately goes to money over and over and over.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to get beyond the money part, dude. Smoke bombs.
1 pound of smoke bombs.
I'll tell you though, like I've been thinking of just like power moves you could do. Like how, like just being a party animal, bro. Like pound of Jello shots, bang. What's up, dude? Or like a pound of. You're at a wedding and you're
That'd
just
be so useless. Give me the money,
dude. No, you're at a wedding. Boom, pound of doves. You just release doves, like bam.
A pound of doves. I think that's like half a dove.
1 dove. Yeah.
How much is a dove?
Just half a dead dove. It just gets. You just ruin a wedding by
bottom
having
half of a dove
show up. Bleeding on the dance floor.
You're the freak that brought a half dove. Oh God,
bro. No. Let's stop with the cap, okay? Here, the doves weigh between 3.9 to 6 ounces. There's 16 ounces in a pound, so I'm getting at least 2 doves out of this. Two and a half.
You get a half. One of the doves is cut in half.
I would say to play it safe, I'll say 2 doves, right? That way I can just be like
he rounds down just to be safe, just to avoid
be safe. Right? I don't want any half doves. I don't want any part doves. Ain't no half doves. Ain't no half birds out here. So I'm popping out just like boom, like that. 2 doves. Look out, Chris Angel.
What's up? Oh, you just opened another door. You could set this just to create your career as a magician. You only do 2 shows a year. And you make a pound of something appear. It's like your special move. But what would be the most surprising thing to make show up in your hands that could launch a career as the exclusive magician that only performs twice a year?
More hands.
A pound of hands.
Pound of hands.
So
in your hands.
Here, wait a second. So wait. How much was the gold worth?
37,000.
I got the answer. It's the Doves. And here's why. Here's why. There's a famous skeptic who passed away, but I believe this challenge is still out there. There's a guy named James Randi. Have you ever heard of James Randi?
Sounds fake.
It is fake. No, he was a famous, he originally was a magician, but then he became a skeptic, and because he hated the people that were like preying on others with like paranormal stuff or like being like psychics and like conning people. So he created this challenge, the $1 million paranormal challenge offered by James Randi Educational Foundation that still is out there today. If you can prove without a doubt that you have some sort of supernatural or paranormal ability, they will give you the $1 million. Over 1,000 people have tried it. No one's ever done it. So if I could make doves appear out of thin air, then I could get $1 million via this challenge.
Just $1 million?
I think it's just $1 million. Yeah.
Tax?
Probably if it's a gift. Yeah. Probably.
So Coop, here's what I'm thinking though. The stack of $100 bills that you magically make appear should also prove that you have magical powers, and then twice a year for the rest of your life, you're not getting 2.5 doves. You're getting $40,000.
Yeah,
you now have an $80,000 a year salary on top of the $1 million that you got for beating.
Are you taxed on the magical dollars?
And you know what's funny
$1 million has so many doves for the rest of his life.
Some dead, some
that was that day. It's that day, and 2.5 more doves.
You know what's
and it's not like a quick thing. It's like they have to get a gold out of his hand.
I was gonna say, what's more fun at a wedding, but still the money. Still money.
Right? Still threw $40,000.
It's still money.
Brad's like dead.
Who walks around at the wedding? Hey, I'm taking a vote. Would you rather me throw 2.5 doves into the air or $40,000 cash and $100 bill? Just getting a tally around on what people would prefer here.
Tim said a pound of God.
A pound of God.
What's he doing with it? Is he eating it? Are you saving it?
I don't know.
Are you?
Can I get a pound of God? Oh Lord have mercy! Can I get a pound?
Whew.
Well done, guys. I think we answered Reddit's questions.
I think we did. Dude. We got better balls in the chat saying this is what it sounds like when doves cry. Yeah, when Coop's in charge, doves are crying. Guys, we've got some more coming up. We're gonna have Coop and JL face off in some master debaters. We're going to play some Quotey McQuote phase as well. And then we're going to teach you some things that we know during the Moreau You Know. But right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Call, chat, and enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Better Sports Network. Moose and Keith.
Because I never asked you this. When Noah was growing up, when did Noah first where you got a sense that this is what my son wanted to do?
I was really busy during his formative years. I didn't meet Noah until he was about 19.
Nice. So, your wife did a good job.
Yeah, you may want to talk to your wife. I would say about 13, he started showing a legitimate interest. He started getting curious about how I prepared, what it required. And then I saw a little bit of a shift, 14, 15, where he was concentrating on the on-cameras, the interaction between play-by-play and analyst, and started probably taking mental notes at that point of the performance aspect of, okay, you do all this prep, but you got to go out and deliver it. So yeah, probably that 14, 15 range, I thought to myself, this could be something he really wants to do.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
You don't need to be like right 100% of the time.
No, there was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out what speed these guys are running on the field. Yet somehow we still mark the ball by
That's my favorite.
A 60-year-old dude eyeballing it, and then we run over with literal chains and measure it. It's like, you think we could probably get that figured out.
The least precise way to measure something, and then immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah, it's like we have satellite.
Like if you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line, But if you like, first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible. But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, doesn't count. Sorry, couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And they bring out the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Ayuk ran on an end around. But we can't.
And I can see that number live while he's doing it. Like I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
I love that. It's and not to mention that dude's trying to make the spot, and the player always tosses the ball right into his face. Right, he's coming over to spot it, and it's every other time the player's just here you go. Here's another thing to juggle.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Is it me, Ray, or is the only publicity that Microsoft Surface has gotten out of their whole thing on the sideline is people throwing them to the ground in anger? Is that just a me thing? Or the only time I hear about this device, Ray, is when somebody is chucking it on the ground, just pissed off at it. Which I get it. All of us are in that world. We love to do that. Only in the NFL, Ray, can they get away with it because these are free. There's no cost. It's part of the sponsorship. Here's 5,000 Microsoft tablets to get you through the NFL season, and these players, Ray, just slamming them down. It's like they've become Gilbert on the sideline, and they're so frustrated. They're just the only publicity this company and this product has gotten is negative.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We are winking and thinking and talking about some football right here. You guys doing all right? Figured I'd check in at around 8:36 a.m. Eastern time.
Doing all right. Doing pretty good.
It's usually when you start craving your first nap of the day, right, J.O.?
It's usually when I start thinking about food.
That's when I get most fired up to talk about football with my boys and girls.
Football with
Talk a little football this morning.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
That's our football sounds.
Football brought to you by Football.
Beans.
Beans.
Football.
Try them with your breakfast. Try them with your lunch. Try them with your football. Beans.
Beans. Have you had your beans today?
There might be some bean-based debates in this next segment, but we will see. We're not kicking it off with one, but we are about to get into a game we call Master Debaters. Coop and JL are going to be master debating to see who the best master debater of all is. I'm going to give you guys a topic, assign you the sides that you'll be responsible for. You're going to have 60 seconds to give your intro argument, and then your opponent will have 20 seconds to respond to said argument. We'll then flip the table. The opponent will have 60 seconds to give their argument. You're going to have 20 seconds to respond, and we will go from there. I will determine the winner. We'll ask the chat for their opinion, though. So you guys let me know in the chat who you think's winning these debates. We'll take that into consideration when determining who comes out on top. You guys ready?
Ready.
The first one, we're starting simple, and you probably could have guessed it. I want to know, Coop, why are the Eagles going to win the Super Bowl? And JL, your job is going to be to tell me why the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. JL, I'm going to give you the floor first on this one. You're going to have 60 seconds. I'm going to pull up my timer momentarily. And whenever you start is whenever I will hit the timer start button.
Wait, so...
And that is the noise you will hear whenever your time is done.
Okay, that is fair. Wait, so I'm arguing in the Chiefs first, you're saying?
Yes. You need to tell me why the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl.
Okay. So I'm just doing this poll up here for the chat. Okay. Listen, the Chiefs, you cannot count them out. This Chiefs offense, Chiefs team has won the Super Bowl countless times in the last few years. Countless. You can't count that. Patrick Mahomes is amazing. Yeah, he's got a hurt leg. Who needs a leg to win a Super Bowl? Not Patrick Mahomes, that's for sure. Meanwhile, the Eagles had to rely on Nick Foles last time to win the Super Bowl. This time they cannot do it with Jalen Hurts because they don't have Nick Foles. And so without Nick Foles, how are they going to win a Super Bowl? You can't convince me otherwise. I'm telling you, Chiefs, Juju Smith-Schuster. You got Isaiah Pacheco. You got Juju Smith-Schuster. You got so many different players on that team. Travis Kelce, boom, another one. Fantastic. Travis Kelce is going to get up there and he's going to say, Burrowhead my ass, because he's going to be the champion. He's not going to go down. He's getting old. He's not going to let this team lose as we get close to his retirement. That's all.
And that is your time, JL. The crux of the argument coming down to, can the Eagles really expect to win without Nick Foles under
I don't
center?
think so.
Coop, you've got 20 seconds to respond to JL here. I will start the timer whenever you start talking.
Look, we know we don't have the powerful and strong ability of Nick Foles here, which is an excellent argument. But your argument that they have Juju Smith-Schuster might not even be true. Patrick Mahomes is the only one that's banged up. Juju Smith-Schuster left the game. Mecole Hardman left the game. L'Jarius Sneed and his amazing name left the game. Willie Gay left the game. These Chiefs are all nicked up. And the
Eagles, is your time, Coop, for the rebuttal towards these rebuttals are short. The rebuttals are 20 seconds because you're going to have a whole 60 seconds to pitch your part.
I need 60 minutes. That's how awesome the Eagles are.
Coop just acting completely shocked that 20 seconds wasn't a very long amount of time.
Pretty short.
that was 20 seconds.
Looking back on it, I wouldn't have said look and then dramatically paused for like 3 seconds.
Yeah, I was like, that's a bold use of your first 7 seconds, Coop.
I think it was important.
Joey,
right, in the chat.
You threw a poll in the chat, yeah?
Yep.
Well, Coop still has to give his argument there.
Right? Now I have 60 seconds to argue.
This one's just about the Chiefs, but yeah.
Oh, what'd you put in the chat for the Chiefs?
It was just, will the Chiefs win the Super Bowl?
Beautiful.
Were you convinced?
Joey in here said, I really feel like JL needs to hammer his point home with the Patrick Mahomes impression. And Gator saying Juju at wide receiver, all the weapons the Chiefs need. Great
Juju
argument.
and Juju. Thank you, Gator.
Well, Mr. Cool, you got 60 seconds. As soon as you start talking, I'm going to hit the timer.
We're going to win this game, guys.
Look. I already mentioned all the injuries I already mentioned all the injuries the Chiefs have. The Eagles, they were 13-1 when they started suffering injuries. They lost Jalen Hurts. They lost Dallas Goedert. They lost CJ their fine safety. Those guys are all back. Those guys are back and better than ever. They have Darius Slay and James Bradbury on the outside to start these wide receivers that the Chiefs have. I mean, they held Isaiah Hodgins and Darius Slayton to 7 yards total. They're not going to have a problem covering, the whatever they roll out there, Justin Watson, whoever isn't hurt over there. It's a nightmare situation for the Chiefs, right? So give me the team that has Goddard, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Miles Sanders running for 5 yards of carry. If Miles Sanders gets hurt, they could just recreate him with Boston Scott on rundowns, Kenneth Gainwell on pass downs. They got it all, man. They have the best line in the league. They have the best defensive 7 in the league. I mean, I find it difficult to even figure out what makes the Chiefs better than the Eagles.
And that is your time wrapped up nicely there, Coop. JL, you're going to get 20 seconds to respond to Coop's argument there. He's finding it hard to discover a single area in which the Chiefs are better than the Eagles here. When you start talking, I'll start your timer. Remember, this is quick. So start with look and then a dramatic pause. And then around the 7-second mark, start making your argument.
Boy, have you lost your mind? Because I'll help you find it. It's right there. Patrick Mahomes. That's what they do better than the Eagles. Get out of here. Quarterback right in front of your face. You're talking about their defense. Well, guess what? Patrick Mahomes doesn't need any pass catching weapons. He doesn't need anything to get through that Eagles defense. He's Patrick Mahomes. He's been making it work all year. He didn't need Tyreek Hill. And look,
he got one leg.
Got it done. Patrick Mahomes with one leg is what the Eagles are missing over there. Who is going to win this debate? Oh, JL, your Patrick Mahomes impression puts it really close. But Coop, I think you're going to come out on top as the master debater in round 1. You convinced me a little bit more with the depth that the Eagles have and then the injuries on that Chiefs side.
I think
Coop, you sold me.
If the Mahomes if the Mahomes impression was within the official time limit of the clock, I think that would have done it. I think it was outside of the clock, was it not?
Yeah, I couldn't take that into
It
consideration.
couldn't.
for
Yeah, the
judging
jury.
jail.
We had to go to the jury and say, please remove that from the record because it
I'm
was.
disappointed.
Why is that so good? You sound like it sounds like Kermit mixed with Nick Kroll's impression of Larry Bird.
That's very specific.
Keep that impression.
That's such a specific comp.
Keep that impression in your back pocket in case we ever need a Larry Bird, because that's a good Larry Bird too.
All right, guys, we're going to move on to round 2 of Master Debaters here.
There was a round 2. Shit.
Coop, you are going to go first in this round because JL went first in the last one. And here's what we are debating. Coop, you're going to tell me why smooth peanut butter, creamy peanut butter is the superior peanut butter. JL, you are going to tell me why crunchy peanut butter is the superior peanut butter. Coop, you're up first. 60 seconds to sell me on smooth, creamy peanut butter being superior than crunchy peanut butter.
Look, what exactly are we doing here? What are we doing? What is the whole point of peanut butter? We're taking peanuts, nature's amazing fruit that they've delivered us from the Lords to provide us with nourishment, and we're transforming it. We're transforming it into an even better product, a clean, creamy, delicious product that you can spread. You can dip a finger in. You can dip a celery stick in if you want. Why the heck would we still leave the chunky, crunchy parts in there? The whole point is to take these chewy, crunchy things that, at times they could hurt your teeth. At times they can make a mess. They could be too loud in the movie theater if you're going to go that direction. Why are we taking this thing that the whole point of the peanut butter is to transform it into a different product, a creamy product? Why would we then go back and put the chunky parts back in there? It literally defies the entire point of the peanut butter. George Washington Carver would be rolling over in his grave if he saw you eating that chunky mess.
George Washington Carver would be rolling over in his grave to watch you eat that chunky mess. JL, this is your 20 seconds as a rebuttal. You're going to have your full 60 seconds in a moment, but this is your 20-second rebuttal to Coop's statements about crunchy peanut butter. Start when you're ready.
My opponent makes some good points. Why would we leave the chunky pieces left in the peanut butter after so much time? It's to remember where we came from, Coopathy. It's to remember. I for one am not ashamed of where it came from. I'm proud of it, and I want to see that in my peanut butter. I want my peanut butter to be proud where it came from. I want to remember where we got our peanut butter from.
There we go. A beautiful rebuttal from John Luke. Let us know in the chat if Coop convinced you on crunchy peanut butter, if JL's rebuttal was enough. But JL, you are now going to have 60 seconds to tell us why creamy peanut butter is superior to crunchy peanut butter. I got the timer
Other way
ready
around?
on you. Yeah, exactly the other way around.
Listen, have you ever been at the beach, laying in the sand and just wish the sand is too smooth? I wish that this sand had a little bit more texture to it. I wish that this didn't feel so comfortable and I wasn't about to fall asleep here on this beach in the sun and get sunburned. That's how I feel about peanut butter. And a lot of times when you get chunky peanut butter and you bite into that sandwich, a nice, soft, fluffy bread, and you get that hard chunk, it reminds you what you're eating. It reminds you to be grateful for the day. Carpe diem. That's what I'm looking for in my peanut butter. Little chunks of wisdom, little chunks of life. I wouldn't give that up for the world. That's it. So I don't need the rest of the time.
Cede the rest of the time to the floor. Left 10 seconds on the clock. Coop, you got 20 seconds to rebuttal that heartfelt argument from JL. What are you thinking here? Start whenever you're ready.
Look, the peanut butter that I like, that where I'm from, that's the creamy peanut butter of America. And if you had done your homework, you would know that Marcus Gilmore Edson from Canada invented chunky peanut butter. I'm going with America's peanut butter. USA. USA, 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 USA.
And that is your time. Thank you for those well thought out arguments, sir. Jay in the chat saying I hate chunky peanut butter, and JL sold me. And I'm going to have to agree with Jay. JL, you are the winner of round 2. And I am a creamy peanut butter guy, but you sold me on chunky peanut butter. The story you told, you lost me with the sand for a second there. But then, you know what? It was that feeling of like, I'm earning this. This sandwich, like these chunks mean something. They're not just chunks for no reason. I started thinking of like a jam with chunks of strawberry in it. What a treat when that chunk of strawberry hits my lips. Why am I disrespecting peanut butter in that way? You opened my eyes to think of this as like this is a peanut marmalade with portions of the fruit still present, not just
an experience. It's a peanut experience.
Beautiful.
I will say that yours was so good that I was like in my mind, I totally forgot that I had to go for another 20 seconds.
You're so captivated.
And I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, those little chunks that remind us that we're alive. Yeah. And also, I once again went for the Donald Trump approach, where I just totally made something up, and no one has time to fact check it because I don't know who invented chunky peanut butter. It probably was not some guy from Canada.
I remember one of the my favorite things that I learned in high school. I was reading like an SAT prep book, and it said in there like, for your essays, you can make shit up. They said like it is written in the graders' rules not to look up the facts that you say. You can just make things up. They said one common thing is you can cite studies. And that became my go-to on every SAT test I ever wrote an essay on. I would be like, in a 2014 study by the University of Michigan, researchers found, like, you could just make it up and put it in there because they were just looking for the structure of your writing. So much fun
to just
lie about it.
That's where I'm at, dude. I mean, I've seen the debates. Have you seen the Donald Trump debate? Dude, he doesn't even make stuff up. In the last couple, he wasn't even making stuff up. He was just going, "No, your wife's a dog," you know. Like,
and Nick said, "George Washington Carver." Come on, we know George Washington Carver invented the peanut. Coop was lying about the peanut. Invented the peanut.
I was my 60 second one. My 60-second one was factual, and my 20-second one was riddled with lies and nationalism.
And Coop,
Simon said he invented the peanut.
Yeah, he invented the peanut. That's incredible what he did.
Guys, we're just making stuff up across the board.
It is 1-1. So I think we got time for one more round to determine the winner, who the true master debater is for today. You guys ready for round 3 of Master Debaters?
Oh, yeah.
Dale, you're going first in this one. In this debate, I'm going to be an unbiased observer here. What I need you two to argue, JL, you're going to tell me why 0 RB is the best drafting strategy. And Coop, you are going to tell me why robust RB is the best drafting strategy. And just to be clear, JL, by 0 RB, I mean the earliest you are drafting a running back is the 8th round of a typical 12-man league. Not modified.
Round.
We're talking full 0 RB, not modified. And Coop, for robust RB, your first 4 picks in the draft are all running backs. Okay? That's what we're going with. It is true robust RB and true 0 RB is what I need you to argue for me here.
All right, I'm going first.
Yeah, JL, start whenever you're ready, and I will start your 1-minute timer.
Think of all the great zeros in your life. Coke 0, Pepsi 0, Dr. Pepper 0. All fantastic. All fantastic. So why not give it a little try to 0 RB? Hear me out. This year was the year for 0 RB. You did not win your championship unless you went 0 RB or your teammates are really stupid. Either way, you probably won. 0 RB worked out this year. Jamal Williams. You probably got him in the 10th round, 11th round, 12th round. He was a top 12 running back. Aaron Jones, also great deal. You know who didn't work out? Alvin Kamara, kind of.
Yeah.
He didn't work out. He didn't work out. There are plenty of running backs who don't work out in those first, second rounds. You don't want them. Go with the wide receivers because the wide receivers, they're consistent and they give you a ton of upside. Look at Justin Jefferson. Case in point. Cooper Kupp last year. Case in point. Fantastic.
And that is your time, JL. An argument for 0 RB. Gator in the chat agreeing with you. He goes, JL 0, Coop 0.
Coop 0?
All the good zeros in the world.
All the
You
zeros.
remember right there. Well, Coop, you got 20 seconds to respond to Jail's assertions about 0 RB before you have the floor to talk about robust RB. So what do you think about Jail's take on 0 RB here?
Look, I love that JL brought up Alvin Kamara because that's my favorite one. That was the year that, think back a couple of years, everyone was saying, oh, I'm going to go 0 RB. 0 RB is the way to go. And then what happened? Alvin Kamara himself came out and scored 6 touchdowns in championship week. And if you didn't have Alvin Kamara, you lost. And then everyone turned around and said, oh, wait, did I say 0 RB? No, I meant hero RB. That's what we're doing. That's the real strategy. Like, Alvin Kamara's the guy you bring up?
That is your time, Coop. A solid rebuttal. Let us know in the chat if Jail convinced you towards 0 RB, if Coop pushed you the other ways. But Coop, you've got 1 minute. Robust running back is what I need you to argue for. You're going running back to start your draft. You got 60 seconds to convince me that this is the best draft strategy. What do you got?
Look, let me point you to a guy named Pat Carrain. For those that don't know, he works over at NBC Sports Edge. At once upon a time, Mr. Pat Carrain's profile on Twitter said, I've never drafted a running back. You know what it says now? It says Austin Eckler is a legend. Because this guy, one of the biggest proponents of 0 RB, just so happened to go out this year and draft heavily running back in a little something called Best Ball Mania on Underdog Fantasy, where he had Austin Eckler and where he won $1 million. And now he has to turn around and say, hey, 0 RB's and cool and all, but just a reminder, no one's ever won a goddamn thing going 0 RB. Sean Siegel wrote that back in 2013, and I'm not really seeing a lot of these teams where people are winning 0 RBs. You know what I see? I see teams that load up on running backs, the currency of fantasy football, the dominators, the Todd Gurleys of the world that can really change the entire landscape of this entire goddamn game. Those are the teams that are crushing. Those are the teams that are going most points for, most points against, still winning the league. Eat it. Wide receivers, running backs all day.
That is your time. With the closing statement of eat it, wide receivers, running backs all day. Jail, the floor is now yours for 20 seconds for your rebuttal to Coop's assertions about robust RB strategy. The floor is yours.
I'm glad you brought up Best Ball Mania because everybody knows that's rigged. Underdog, it's all fixed. It's all a marketing thing. So I'm glad you brought that up, first of all. Second of all, I'm glad you brought up Todd Gurley because Todd Gurley is the perfect love child of 0 RB here because Todd Gurley is just gone. He was just gone all of a sudden.
He was just RB. Gone all of a sudden.
Conspiracy theories, dude.
Oh, man, this one's tricky. This is to determine the winner of Master Debaters. You know me, and I do have a propensity towards drafting 0 RB. But Coop, I think you laid out the better argument. I'm going to give you the win today in Master Debaters. Coop, congratulations.
You love Coop so much. Why don't you marry him?
I'll tell you right now.
He's fine. He's a master debater.
I'll tell you right now, if I got a vote in this, I would have 100% voted for JL just because I love the idea of just going straight for conspiracy theories, nationalism, playing to the crowd. Like that's
just like Underdog, this show is also rigged. So take solace in that.
Yeah, we predetermined Coop as the winner before the
debate,
show even started.
Moving forward, we should do our best to move as far away from actual like statistical arguments into just using like dirty debate.
Aubrey Huff debate.
Think about the children. Yeah, Aubrey just go full like garbage. What's that? I think it's Family Guy. Family Guy where she's like doing the debates. Have you seen that one? And she just goes 9/11. And the crowd's like, yeah.
Oh yeah, Lois whenever she's running from there or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's the way I'm debating moving forward.
Just saying catchphrases into the microphone.
Yeah, just trash.
Or in Community, whenever Magnitude runs and he just gets up in front of the microphone, he's like, pop, pop.
Yeah,
everyone goes pop.
Yeah.
That's gonna be my next. That's gonna be my next 20-minute rebuttal.
Pop.
Look. Dramatic pause. Pop, pop.
Tommy said, let's ride. Yeah, you can just respond that to every single one. And Gator said, Jail, don't stoop to Simon's level.
You're right, Gator. You're right. I'm better than that. I'm so much better than that.
You got to get down in the trenches, dude. conspiracy.
Gotta get down the trenches.
I don't know. It's pretty fun on the level I'm at, JL. So if you want to take a visit, just test it out.
No,
it's
thanks.
not a permanent move. You can just visit for a little bit before you decide to live down here in the trash.
That's a trash move, dude.
Albert
You gotta.
said, good morning, everyone. Morning,
What
Albert.
up,
Welcome to
Albert?
the trash.
That's the classic idiot playbook: is bring them down to your level and then beat them with experience.
100%. So JL, congratulations. You didn't fall for the oldest trick in the book.
Yeah.
He did. He dropped a conspiracy theory in the last one. He 100% stooped to my level. He 1,000%.
Checkmate.
He definitely fell for it.
Coop, you forgot the last
All in a
step.
day's work.
Deny.
Deny.
Whenever you say he was pushing it, no, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
Well, see, I went right to the Republican playbook as well and accused the other person of doing exactly what I'm doing. Accuse them first. Be like, conspiracy.
Nuh-uh.
No.
Did Coop just call Simon an idiot? Probably. I don't know if it was just, but at least twice today already he's called me an idiot.
Let's be real, Gator. We're all idiots.
We're all idiots here
on this blessed day. Guys, coming up, we're going to teach you a little bit about what these idiots have learned in the Moreau You Know, and we're going to play a game called Quotey McQuote Face. And I want to remind everybody that this week we are sponsored by our friends over at Lucra. They're redefining friendly competition. You can compete in games you play and the sports you watch on Lucra. Just throw some bucks in there and bet some beans against your friends. It can be about the football game you're watching. You get together and watch the Pro Bowl. Or it can be you guys throwing down some cornhole. You're playing some dots at the bar. You can throw that on Lucra, get a bet in there with your friends, see who comes out on top. But coming up, we're going to teach you a little bit in the Moreau You Know and get some Quotey McQuote Face action going. You're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Corey, Nando, and Friends, presented by Mayo Media on Better Sports Network.
I'm convinced that Babe Ruth is a fictional character. Babe Ruth is not real. No, it's not. Babe Ruth is not real. We've been hoodwinked. We've been bamboozled. We've been led astray. We've been run amok.
Keep going.
Babe Ruth, I don't know the rest. Babe Ruth is a fictional character. I'm dead serious. Babe Ruth is a fictional character. Y'all are never going to get me to believe that Babe Ruth is real. Babe Ruth is like a baseball Santa Claus. I'm not buying it. After I saw those highlights last night of Babe Ruth, I'm like, there's no way you can tell me that Babe Ruth is a real person. Who do you know? There is nobody under the sound of my voice that has ever seen Babe Ruth play. I asked my pop, you ever seen Babe Ruth play? He's like, no. Nobody's ever seen Babe Ruth play.
I mean, come on.
I'm telling you, Babe Ruth is a fictional character. Even Babe Ruth baseball cards, it looked like it's drawn. Like, Babe Ruth is not real. Y'all trying to pull a fast one. Listen, I don't know who made this up. Maybe it was Phil Rizzuto. Maybe it's the Lenny Melnick. But Babe Ruth is not a real person. There's no way. Everything about Babe Ruth is sketchy. If you didn't go to the games, how do you know that it really happened? Or I listened on the radio. You listen to Ovaltine on the radio. That old school radio was all fiction. Everything on old school radio was fake. But you think Babe Ruth is real?
Look, he lived until 1948. So if you find someone who's like 85 years old, they might have remembered him when he was little, when they were a little teenager.
Babe Ruth was made up by baseball purists. I am certain.
You do that thing where you pause the Babe Ruth video and you zoom in and you zoom in and you zoom in. You see like some artist's autograph like right here.
Yeah,
some digital mark right here. Yeah.
Somebody need to investigate this and see if Babe Ruth is a real person. I'm pretty sure Babe Ruth is a fictional character created to make people think that like there was this great jolly old baseball player that drank beers and ate hot dogs and hit 60 home runs. Like the home run record before Babe Ruth was like 14. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and
but
now
he figured it out. Like who figured out the dunk, right? Like he's just like,
that's like Dr. J or something, right? Then Dr. J, probably was before Dr. J, but Dr. J made the dunk famous. Babe Ruth made the home run famous, or maybe that was a way to get people to like, we're gonna make baseball America's pastime. But in order to do so, we need somebody who we can make the face of the sport. And they didn't have no face of the sport. So they're like, okay, let's make him a fictional guy that played for the Red Sox and was traded to the Yankees for like tickets to tickets to cats. You know what I'm saying? Like the Red Sox get a
You tried to say Les
There's
Miserables.
is there any footage of Babe Ruth in the Red Sox uniform? None. I'm telling you, Babe Ruth is a fictional character.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. JL, now I know you were talking to your dog, but right before we came back, all of a sudden, I just see your head pop up from the bottom of the screen. And it was just really funny, like that you were like hiding under your desk during the entire break.
That's where she is. I don't know what to tell you.
JL went and laid on the floor with his dog under his desk during the break. Just pop back up. Just shimmy.
Hey.
Here I am.
Hey.
I like to imagine that's how you always like leave all like virtual meetings. Is just like, okay,
Sliding.
and I'll see you later.
I'm gonna take the elevator on this one, guys. I'll catch you later. I can't even go that low in my situation.
We had a question from Adam in here that came in during the break. He wanted to know, do y'all think Rachaad White could take off next year under a rebuild in that Buccaneers offense? I really liked his potential by the end of the season. John Luke, do you think there's potential for a Rachaad White breakout season next year?
Yeah, Rachaad White he looked great this year, 3rd round pick to the Buccaneers. I don't know what they're going to do with Leonard Fournette. I actually haven't recently looked at his contract situation, so I'm not entirely sure if he's under a contract for next season, but if they're rebuilding, I don't see why they wouldn't just stick with Rachaad White.
I've looked at it. And the thing with Leonard Fournette is he has to be traded. They set up the contract in a way that he signed for 3 years. If he were released, it wouldn't make sense because they would have to eat $5 million dead cap with only 3.4 in savings. There'd actually be more dead cap than savings.
That would take forever to eat all that money.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money to eat.
Yeah, they have to be. You need a lot of money dressing and coin croutons to get through that salad. They would, if they trade him, however, it flips. They only keep $3 million of the dead cap. You basically are only responsible for the guaranteed money, and the whatever team takes on the deal takes on the rest of it. So they would save $5.4 million in dead cap. What I think is most likely to happen is they just keep it for this year, and then next year is the year where they can get out of the contract with only, even if they were to cut him, it would be 1.5 million dead cap with 7 million in savings. That's a little more reasonable. So fortunately, Adam, I think the Rachaad White blow up year is more likely to be 2024 than it is 2023.
Yeah, I agree with what both of you were saying. I think the only thing standing in the way is Leonard Fournette. Or a better running back that's on that roster. But I don't see them spending money to bring in a better running back or using draft capital right now to draft a better running back. And Rachaad White showed flashes this year. If Fournette is traded, guns a-blazing going into 2023. Otherwise, I'm with Coop. Maybe you see some flashes again in 23, and then it's 24 when we, what yips can I do?
Yeah, and that's the thing is like we've seen guys like he can be an RB2 that has RB1 weeks, even with that, even with all the sounds happening right now, and even with Leonard Fournette, doing what he does, like it doesn't mean that he can't be a fantasy relevant player, and it doesn't mean that he can't be worth his ADP. But when we say take off, we kind of are talking about guys that are playing 60, 70, 80% of the snaps. And I don't see that happening with playoff Lenny hanging around.
No, we're talking like Elon Musk tweets about Dogecoin before everyone hates him kind of rise whenever we say taking off.
Exactly.
That's the kind of rise we're looking at.
100%.
That was kind of a funny time period when he was just fully manipulating the value of a coin just by sending single tweets. You could just make thousands of dollars just by like buy it, wait till he tweets, sell it. Like that was a real strategy you could have employed and made. What a stupid world this is.
And I just picture people at the SEC like looking at each other like, is there anything we could do about this? And they're just like,
no, I guess not.
He's using Twitter to manipulate an asset.
He's got a lot of money.
Using Twitter to manipulate an asset we don't regulate.
Named after a meme. named specifically after a meme, a Doge.
I hate our job.
That's been the funniest moment in Dogecoin for me was the day that I tuned into a NASCAR race and I was looking at, they had all the cars at the starting blocks, and I'm looking and I'm like, is that the meme dog from the internet on that car? And then they show the sponsor, and sure enough, it was Dogecoin. They managed to sponsor. There was a NASCAR driver that would come on Reddit all the time and do like AMAs and stuff, and they managed to pay to sponsor one of his cars for a couple races. So there was a Dogecoin car on the NASCAR track for multiple races.
That's awesome. That's freaking awesome. Well, guys, it's time to get into our next game. JL is going to be running this one. Didn't want to lose 2 in a row, so I think he's taking over now. We're going to get into some Quotey McQuote face. You want to let us know how this one works, JL? And I'm so sorry for that unnecessary shot right there, just first thing in the morning.
It's okay. I forgive you. I'm strong. I got a thick skin. I'm
How
happy
thick?
to let you guys. Oh, the thickest, at least 2 or 3 inches. This game, if this is your first time playing some Quotey McQuote face, it's aptly named, and it's very simple. You'll pick it up very quickly. I have some quotes that Keith and Ernie here have gathered for me, and myself gathered a couple of these quotes from around the league, quotes from various people. I'm gonna take turns presenting these quotes to the contestants, who then have to tell me who said the quote. So who's the author of the quote, who spoke it, and then what they're talking about. And so for each round, there are 2 points available. One for getting the quote attribution correct, and the second one for getting the context of the quote correct. If either contestant misses either of these points, the other one will have an opportunity to steal them by answering correctly.
Yes.
As always, please play along in the chat. We love it.
And I will have the chat closed. Coop and I will both have the chat closed. So if you're throwing guesses in there, we won't see them. So you don't have to worry about us cheating. At least not that way.
I guess I'll close the chat. I was going to cheat, but I'll close. Simon said I would close it, so I will now close it.
And pull a Coop move. Put on my anti-cheating glasses.
Put on the anti-cheating glasses. I like it. All right, Simon, you are going
cheating glasses.
You are going second in this one because I hate you. And Coop, you are going first. All right. Coop, here's your first quote. These games are never going to be pretty. You just have to find ways. It felt like the tide was turning our way, and it felt like we were going to find a way to win this game. Like I said, we didn't make the plays down the stretch. Who said this, and what are they talking about?
Well, so there were only 2 games, and one of them was kind of a blowout where the quarterbacks got hurt. So I don't think this is talking about the Eagles 49ers game. I think that this is a player or coach from the Bengals side talking about the Bengals losing to the Chiefs. So I think the context is somebody talking about the Bengals losing to the Chiefs. It's a matter of who said it, which could the context. Can I hear one more time? Sorry, JL.
You can. You don't need to apologize. It's all right. These games are never going to be pretty. You just have to find ways. It felt like the tide was turning our way, and it felt like we were going to find a way to win this game. Like I said, we didn't make the plays down the stretch.
Yeah, I was hoping that I could. Sometimes you can tell whether it's a coach or player based on how they phrase things, but in this one, it's hard.
I forgot to listen that time. I was very intent on listening to the specific words, and then while you were talking, I just went somewhere else and was like,
"Don't worry, Simon." On that,
I think I'm gonna watch Columbus later today.
I listened, and it doesn't give you any more context on
thanks,
who said it. So I'll just pick one of the Bengals.
Scamper's in here with a good guess, and Missy Elliott.
Oh,
Missy Elliott, yeah.
Music make you lose control. Yeah.
Sorry if I gave that one away. If you guys were thinking about maybe guessing
Put your back on the wall because Mr. Mina said so.
And he also said, also good morning. Good morning, Mr. Scamps.
Good morning, Scampers.
Or scam. Yeah, so probably not Missy Elliott. I'll just go with, I'm going to pick a random Bengals player that maybe had a chance to speak, and I will say that Hayden Hurst said that he's
that's who I was going to guess.
Oh, get out. Talking about the Bengals losing to the Chiefs.
Hayden Hurst talking about the Bengals losing to the Chiefs this weekend. Coop is half correct. Context is correct, but the person is incorrect. Simon, you have the opportunity to steal this point.
Doesn't sound cool enough to be Joe Cool. Know what I mean? Like the words aren't, there's not enough like smoothness in the way these words come across. I'm not like a little bit sexually aroused at the end of this sentence, which everything Joe Burrow has ever said, like just like raises some arousal in everyone that's ever heard it. I don't feel that way. I don't think it's Joe. So I'm thinking maybe I go scratch. This sounds maybe like some coach speak, like some plays that should have been made at the end, not trying to place blame on any individual here. I'm going to go with this is Zach Taylor, head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Zach Taylor is incorrect.
Damn it.
Is incorrect. Dustin in the chat got it correct here.
Did he?
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. I guess maybe he's not as sexy after he loses.
He probably said something really cool before or after.
You're right. We probably just cut out the cool part so that it wouldn't give it away immediately. That was probably Keith and Ernie just making sure, like raising the difficulty a little bit.
He's not used to losing. So usually he's in a position to make a cool guy statement. Maybe he wasn't this time.
You're right. You're right.
Maybe he wasn't. But Coop, you're going to get a point for correctly guessing the context of this one. And the other point will be lost to history. Or we'll go to Dustin.
It should go to Dustin.
In the chat.
Yeah. You send it to Toronto with the Bills.
Dustin went reaching for it, and he also got lost to history on accident.
No.
Went a little too far. Yeah, sorry, Dustin.
Tumbling through space.
My B-dog.
Yeah, don't throw it so far next time, Jail.
I know. I just got a cannon. What can I say? What can I say?
Yesterday, the number of times I thought about baseball, football was a little bit too high after we talked about it on the show. Like, I just kept thinking about Patrick Mahomes just winding up to hit Travis Kelce 250 yards down the field. Know what I mean? Like, that's
diving. Dude, imagine blocking Mahomes goes to throw it and you're a lineman and you get a paw on it, dude. You could lose a finger.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's gone.
I picture
they just can't even find it.
Mahomes throws it as hard as he can, and JJ Watt just grabs it with one hand.
Bare
like,
hands.
TJ Watt just
doesn't run with it, just stands there as he gets tackled to the ground and just lays at the ground staring up with the ball in his hand.
Or he starts getting like driven backwards. His feet just like digging into the dirt, and it's just like kicking up grass everywhere.
Yeah. The more I think about it, it really should be more and more like, what am I thinking? I'm thinking of like anime. Like
100%, it's like anime. That's exactly
what are there other anime football things?
So
that would be wild.
I wasn't going to say football, but in My Hero Academia, they do like a special episode where it's a sports competition between all the like superhero kids at the school. So they have to do different like races and different events. And that's always a fun episode. There is sports anime though. That's a whole like subgenre. I've never really watched any of it though.
Dude, I never really watched. I got to get into anime. You guys had sent me.
We'll send you some starter anime.
Send me some basics. Yeah, send me some basics. But there needs to be football anime. Dude, Jamal Williams, bro. That's what he should do after he retires. Football anime.
Football anime.
Hell, if it was made by Jamal Williams, dude,
I'd watch it.
Or not made, but like he would executive produce, right? The idea man.
Sure. Yeah, we don't know how good his drawing is.
Probably not. I don't want to say. I don't even want to say it's not good. I bet it is.
Stick figures.
This one's really mean. You can see the dog in this one.
Dustin said, I need the points. It's -10 outside here today. Oh, brutal.
What? Stick figures, but they all have Dragon Ball Z style hair.
Yeah, that's what I was
like stick figures, but then with the Super Saiyan hair on
the
top.
One thing you could draw. All right, guys. Coop, you are up 1-0. 1-0. And this next quote is Simon's. You ready, Simon?
I'm ready.
We have so many meetings about that, of what we're going to do in these scenarios. Calls we might call, calls if we already called that, and everything like that. You guys need to stop. Taylor, stop it. Hey, stop it. Look forward and stop it. Simon, who said this and what are they talking about?
This is Nick Sirianni in his post-game press conference being a father while trying to answer questions from reporters. He had his 3 children up on stage with him, and they were misbehaving and making faces at each other. And the little girl was going while her dad was talking at the microphone. And he just had to be a dad. That's the person and the context. I feel pretty confident about this one.
Simon, You are double correct. Well done. This was Nick Sirianni trying to get his kids to behave during the Eagles press conference.
You confused the hell out of me for a second when you started saying, Taylor, stop it. Stop it. Like, I was just
Taylor,
like,
stop it. Hey,
I was
stop
like,
it. Look forward and stop it.
All of a sudden, Ryan Fitzpatrick, like saying that to another announcer sitting at a table with him, like came into my mind. And I could only picture it being like a grown man saying that to another grown man. And I was like, who is Taylor? Who is he?
if you replace
the knobs.
If you replace the name Taylor with Jim, it's not far off from what Tony Romo did. Jim.
Or Peyton talking to one of his guests in the Manning cast.
Exactly.
Hey, Snoop. Hey, Snoop. Hey, Snoop. Hey, I gotta say something, Snoop.
If you didn't see that video, you should go look at it. The little girl was cracking me up. She wasn't like the other kids were being like a little bit bad. They were just making faces, but she was straight up while her dad was answering a question, just sitting next to him going, like mocking the hell out of him.
I love that. That's awesome.
I that move, man. Like Nick Sirianni, stop trying to make me like you. I know what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't want to be an Eagles fan.
I know what
you're
you're
doing.
do it. I know what you're doing. Cut it out.
Quit being so cool. Quit trying to be like Mike McDaniel.
Quit being such a good dad. Yeah, McDaniel. McDaniel doesn't have kids, does he? Maybe.
I can't imagine. I cannot imagine.
I bet he has a fish.
Instead of kids, he has like
honestly, he could be either way. I wouldn't be surprised. Of the spectrum, he could have 15 kids, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Based on how expensive his watch and his shoes are, I don't think he does have kids.
You have to pick that watch or kids.
Right. It's like you can have kids, or you can have that like Breitling chronograph.
You can have kids, or you can have sick NFL drip. Your choice, Mike McDaniel.
You can have Balenciagas or whatever he wears.
All right, Simon, you are up 2. Coop, you got 1. Simon came back to the lead here.
Yep.
Cool.
The scamper said his little girl was awesome. AJ Brown's response was hilarious.
Dude, I sorry to interrupt, but I just remembered that. Speaking of sick drip, dude, I got a new pair of slippers, and I'm probably never taking them off, and maybe never leaving the house.
Beautiful.
These
puppies, respect that.
Shoot the link to Mike McDaniel so he knows.
These
wow, look at that.
Got some Uggs.
Twitch just banned us.
I was like, what would Tom Brady wear? Yeah,
we're not even streaming on Twitch, but they just banned us.
Twitch definitely would ban us. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Twitch is
you gotta
pretty
be careful. You're gonna end up on Wiki Feet, Coop. Someone's gonna be taking screenshots. Throw them over there.
Yeah, put me up, dude. Put me up with my.
Put me up.
These pencils are never coming out of these shoes, though. So anybody that was hoping for that day, sorry to disappoint, but
can't wear slippers.
These puppies are locked
Too
in.
warm.
Yeah, they make my feet
See,
sweat.
that's what I thought too. But these ones are like sweat resistant.
Wait a week. Wait 2 weeks.
Yeah, my old slippers.
Nothing.
I was really hoping he'd just gag right there.
Look at that. Look how comfortable that looks. Negative 10 degree weather. Negative 10 degree weather, Dustin. Don't worry about it, bro. Forget about it.
For the first 15 minutes, absolutely. It's going to be majestic.
Ankles?
Mr. Gamer said Mike McDaniel has a pet ostrich for sure. Yeah. I think that's true. I think I heard that was true.
If you don't have kids, you can
named Francis.
Named Francis. Yeah. I thought you were just saying that.
Sweet.
I thought you just said the name Francis.
Just reminding everyone in case they forgot it exists.
Yeah, it's there. There are people out there. All right, guys, let's get into our next quote here. This one is for Coop.
For me.
If you say my name wrong, I'm not answering your question. Just a heads up. Coop, who said this and what are they talking about?
Interesting. If you say my name wrong, I'm not answering your question. So it's got to be somebody that's got a bit of a tricky name. Let's see, a bit of a tricky Williams. If you say my name wrong, say my name. Ooh. When no one is around you, not answering questions. If you say my name,
It's gonna be Coop.
So I'm guessing it's gonna be who's got a name that's kind of difficult to say. How about you think you've got it, huh? Let's say this was so the context in this case is somebody talking to reporters about his name. And the person I will say is Is it the guy?
Okay.
Is it the guy that is it Ossai that made the that made the mistake here? That's what I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Ossai.
Aside talking about
reporters talking to him. A reporter probably said his name. I was gonna say a reporter said his name wrong, and then it's his response to that.
Coop, that is double incorrect.
Cool.
Okay. I'm gonna go with after losing in embarrassing fashion to the Philadelphia Eagles, a reporter pulled, or at a post-game press conference, Kyle Juszczyk to ask him about the potential of going in as the starting quarterback because he was listed as their emergency QB and has a difficult to pronounce name. He's a little bit sad after they lost, so he comes back with a little bit of a snippy comment, just letting them know ahead of time. The question wasn't about his name, but he said, if you don't say my name right, I'm not answering any of your questions. Kyle Juszczyk about answering questions about potentially going in as the quarterback during that playoff game.
Simon, that is a fantastic guess, but it is incorrect on both
Damn,
counts.
I felt so good about it.
But it was incorrect. Coop, I will give you another opportunity to solve this one.
Okay. Is it L'Jarius Sneed? Talking about his name? I'm just trying to think of weird names on some of these players. Chiefs cornerback L'Jarius Sneed.
It was not Chiefs cornerback L'Jarius Sneed talking about his name. Simon, your last opportunity.
Okay, I am going to take a different route. Not someone with a crazy hard to pronounce name, but a name that could be said wrong. And not in one of the games this weekend. I'm going to go with this is Stefan Diggs responding to a reporter calling him Stefan Diggs whenever being asked about something related to them getting eliminated from the playoffs.
Simon, that is incorrect on both
Damn.
accounts. That was a good guess, though. That was a good guess. This was Marquez Valdez-Scantling opening up his press conference after the Chiefs won the conference championship.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I would have not guessed that. I don't think that name's particularly difficult to pronounce, Valdez-Scantling. Unless I'm saying it wrong. Yeah, I was about to say, unless I'm saying it wrong, and I just don't know.
It's not that hard to say. It's super annoying to type. I will say that.
Yeah, it is
certain
quite a
players'
long name.
names where I'm like writing articles, and I'm just like, why can't you just be Tom Brady? There's a bunch of those where it's like, for anybody that doesn't write articles, like certain words, like for instance, undrafted is not in the, it's not actually a word. So it always tells you it's wrong, right? It tries to change it. Like my phone always autocorrects carries to the name Carrie with an apostrophe. Like these are Carrie's things.
Because that makes more sense.
Yeah. I had to go. That's what I was saying. I don't know anyone named Carrie. I had to go into my phone and like change the actual dictionary of my phone to make it stop doing that. Like
yeah, I gotta do that. I gotta do that with well and will, because my phone just switches it every time. I'm like, oh no, stop.
I'll type in my phone and be like, did you mean I'm? I delete it. Type in, did you mean I'm? Delete it. Type in, did you mean I'm? Delete it.
By the third time, I am so close to launching my phone.
Me too. Every time I'm just like, what made you think after the first 2 times that I still want to type I'm?
This is how much I talk about tight ends. That my phone, if I type TEH, it doesn't correct it to it corrects it to capital TE.
Nice. Nice. All right, guys. The score, nobody got points on that one, so it is still 2-1. We've gone through 3, so that means
2.
Coop
Right?
started. We've gone through 3.
Oh yeah, it is my turn on number 4.
Now Simon's turn. Simon, your quote. Yep, I have a Kansas City sweatshirt that I will wear for the next 3 hours, and that's it for the rest of the year. Win or lose, I am done being a Chiefs fan in 3 hours.
This is Jason Kelsey, brother of tight end Travis Kelsey, talking about he will support the Chiefs up until it comes to the Super Bowl. And now we know they are playing each other.
Simon, that is correct on both accounts. You're going to get 2 points on this one. Coop, you look like you do that one.
I didn't know that one. Now, I wanted to talk about another brother. Did you see the videos of Nick Bosa's brother, Joey Bosa? before the 49ers Eagles game?
I did not.
No.
Eagles fans were talking mad trash to him. And he was talking trash back, like pretty seriously. Yeah. Like one of the fans was like he was going back and forth with the fan, and one of the fans was like, enjoy those fines. And he was like, I will enjoy them because I'm rich. And that the fan was like, me too. But like, you can't really come back from that one. But yeah, Bosa was not. Yeah, check the video out. He goes back and forth and he gets into it, dude. He gets into it for sure.
Got trolled. Got the troll.
The Eagles fans are good. They got him. They were on him, dude.
I'm Dustin in here letting us know it often gets said as Marquez when it should be Marquez. Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
That's
what it is?
Quez. Yep. Marquez Valdez-Scantling. And now I'm closing the chat back for one more round.
Mr. Scamper said, if I type Kyle, my phone suggestion is use check, by the way. Very impressive. Very impressive phone.
That's how
I can't even do that.
When I type use check, my phone says, what the heck? It says no suggestions found.
Says, are you okay?
What the heck? Yeah.
It starts dialing 911 automatically.
Life alert.
Yeah.
This man clearly has had some sort of stroke.
All right, guys. Let's get into our last round here. Coop, here is your next quote in a moment. Okay, now I'm ready. When you get traded, it's one team saying, we don't value you as much anymore, and so we're going to get rid of you. That's how I took it, and that's what it is. But I took it, but I know it's business. Just another chip on my shoulder, and here I am.
Okay, I'm going to go with the obvious one. After watching Simon mention Joe Burrow a bunch of times and then not say Joe Burrow, and then the answer was Joe Burrow, I'm going to go with the obvious one here. So the obvious big trade was involving these two Super Bowl teams, which I'm guessing it's going to be one of the Super Bowl teams, was the Titans traded A.J. Brown to the Eagles during the NFL draft this year. So my guess is that this is A.J. Brown talking about being traded from the Titans to the Eagles.
Coop. That is incorrect on both accounts. Simon, you have the opportunity to steal.
On both accounts. Because I feel like the Eagles made some other trades that I was looking at. But maybe this is a full
There's a lot of trades.
misdirect. Maybe this is a full misdirect, and it's not about either of these two teams here at the end. It was a player being interviewed elsewhere. Like maybe this is just completely outside of the purview of the Super Bowl this weekend.
We got Craig in the chat said, Heidely ho, neighborinos.
What up, Craig?
What up, Craig?
Craigster.
I'm going to go with this is Jamal Williams talking. Oh, no, did they trade him to the Lions? I don't think they traded him, so it's not going to be Jamal Williams. This is tough. This is a tough one, John Luke. Whenever we're looking at the Chiefs and the Eagles in the Super Bowl, I'm going to go with this is Tyreek Hill talking about being traded from the Chiefs to the Dolphins.
Tyreek Hill is incorrect on both accounts, Simon. Coop, I'll give you one more chance.
So there's two players that come to mind. We don't feel like trades happen a lot, but there are a lot of players that have been traded. This player, I will say, this player was a first-round pick that was on a rookie deal and did not work out with the team that drafted him, was traded to the Kansas City Chiefs. Is this Kadarius Toney talking about being traded from the Giants to the Chiefs?
Oh, that's a good guess.
That is a great guess, but it is incorrect. Simon.
Robert Quinn being traded from the Bears to the Eagles, and this is him talking about that. Now he's playing in the Super Bowl. Not
Robert Quinn. I'm sorry. This is Christian McCaffrey on being traded from the Panthers to the 49ers.
My next guess was going to be Orlando Brown being traded from the Ravens to the Chiefs.
Oh, that would have been a good one too. Very tough though. All right, guys. Nobody's going to get points for that one. No one in the chat got points for that either.
Chat.
Let down, chat.
You stink.
Who's the winner?
You have one more quote.
Oh, I still have one more.
You still have one more, Simon. This is your last one.
Okay. I thought we were done.
All right, Simon, you're next. Your last quote. My whole offseason was dedicated to this game. I missed a few big plays last year. It's unfortunate they were able to move forward. and I put that on my shoulders. So this offseason, I dedicated my whole offseason to making sure that when that moment calls for me specifically, that I'll answer the call. Simon, who said this? What are they talking about?
This is 14-year NFL veteran Josh Johnson talking about his offseason preparations just in case he had to come in and answer the call to be a starting quarterback.
I don't think
that is incorrect on both accounts.
Okay.
I don't think they interview guys that have concussions, Simon.
Oh, shit. Damn, the context fit until that small detail.
Yeah, I thought of the funny, while you were saying it out loud, the funny answer would have been Gardner Minshew coming in to take a knee at the end of that Eagles game.
I almost said Gardner.
When they were ready to call me in, I was ready to take
I practice all
offseason, take that knee. Had to come in. Can you give me a quote one more time?
My whole offseason was dedicated to this game. I missed a few. It's unfortunate they were able to move forward, and I put that on my shoulders. So this offseason, I dedicated my whole offseason to making sure that when that moment calls for me specifically, that I'll answer the call.
Shame, dude. I think I misread the context of this pretty severely.
Missed a few plays. I think that this is I want to say this is Jalen Hurts talking about how the season ended last year and how he was able to get it done this year and make it the Super Bowl.
Jalen Hurts is incorrect. No points on this one. This was Chris Jones talking about preparing to make his big plays in the AFC Championship game.
Dude, I saw him talking about this too.
And the second time you read it, JL, it made me realize like this is coming from a team that did not advance last year and they were preparing to play the same team. Like as soon as you read it the second time, I was like, this is a Chiefs player. This is a Chiefs player talking about going to like I'm not sure I would have gotten to Chris Jones, but I wish I would have heard that the first time.
Scampers got Chris Jones. Well done, Scampers. Well done.
You little scamp. You.
And Tim said Butker kicking the game winner. That's also a really good guess. Simon, you were going to win this game of Quotey McQuote face 4-1. Let's go.
Suck it. I mean, sorry, Coop. You were a really valiant opponent in this one. I appreciate your effort, and I look forward to our next meeting.
I think both responses are fair.
Thank you. Guys, coming up, we are going to get into some Moreau You Know, teaching you things that we've learned over the past week. If you're enjoying what we're doing over here, though, you should head on over to our YouTube channel if you're not there already and hit that subscribe button. We've got game shows, we've got clips, and we've got all sorts of other content. So you're going to make sure you're subbed over there, not missing what we're putting out. It's more of Jail's beautiful face and Coop's beautiful feet in a slipper. Oh, it's worth the wait. Trust me. There it is. Guys, you're watching the front.
Got stuck on my headphones.
You're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Front Yard Fantasy with Simon, JL, and Coop.
Sell me on doing away with the two-conference system in the NFL.
Is it really a sale whenever this is something that's commonly agreed upon? I'm selling you on water being wet. I'm selling you on something that is objectively true right here. We look at teams at the end of the season and we go, how the hell does one team have such an easy schedule while another team is just absolutely getting obliterated? And that's because of the two-conference system, because the division system feeds into this conference system. It's a symptom of the greater problem. Like these divisional matchups, you're telling me it's fair that the Buccaneers are in the playoffs after playing the Panthers twice, the Falcons twice, and the Saints twice this year? That is unbelievable. There are multiple more deserving teams every single year that because of this system where we silo them into random groups, it determines the order. And yes, originally this was geography based, right? We had these divisions, they were geography. It's 2023, my dudes. Geography doesn't matter whenever it comes to the size of the United States. These teams can travel anywhere. They don't need to geographically locate them in divisions or conferences to make the games make more sense. If USC can be in the Big Ten, why the hell can't Miami play San Francisco every year? It can happen. They've got more money than these colleges and they're not taking classes. All it does is create an ecosystem where less talented teams can get rewarded for playing in weaker divisions and more talented teams are punished for continuing to improve.
Damn, bro.
Drop the mic.
I like to picture some geography teacher out there just threw a pen on the ground. He was like, how dare you? He smacked the globe. He was like, what do you
all
mean?
the hard work we've done.
2023 geography doesn't matter, right? Smacks his
You know
globe.
how long it took for us to get respect?
Globe goes spinning around, right? Geography doesn't matter. How dare
I'm
you?
just imagining they ripped on the world map and underneath is algebra 2. Like they just go straight into being a math teacher.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Paper straws. Oh, they're so bad. Ray, I mean, I'm almost tempted to say screw Mother Earth. Give me a real straw. The paper straw thing is a step too far in saving the planet for me.
It's a great idea. The problem is it has to last. Like it can't go mushy halfway through my drink.
That's
And
the
I think
problem.
That's the problem. They have a hard time standing up if you don't drink that.
100%. That's my issue, Ray. I'm all for taking care of the only planet we got. But Ray, some people like to drive a lot. I don't. I don't get on them for they have to drive 20 minutes to work every day. Can I just get a plastic straw? Like, I think, Ray, we should be able to pay for a card that says, I don't drive every day, so they said I could have this kind of environmental impact by getting a plastic straw. I am in favor, Ray, of government-issued plastic straws if I have the proof that I'm worthy of such. If you want it, you get it. It's kind of like the clear pass. You know,
Yeah,
at the
there you go.
airport.
Okay.
Like, Ray, I'd be willing to pay an extra $2 a year, and I get as many plastic straws as I want when I go out to the restaurant.
And the $2 goes toward cleaning the oceans or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's not a terrible idea. Not terrible.
Call, chat, enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. See, we got Al in the chat. Better Al with the
Oh,
Let's go.
strong arm 'em, baby. Let's go.
What
It's
up,
kind of
Al?
cool. We
Welcome
did
and
that
good
all in
morning.
sync. I'm not gonna lie.
That was nice, bro.
It's pretty
Hey,
sweet.
Sometimes
You know where?
it's just come together.
Did I ever tell you where the strong arm 'em came from?
What, the flex? Like the flex gesture?
Al, when he started doing that in the chat, because Al's been doing that since the start of this network, throwing the flexes in the chat, dude. And I would say strong arm them, Al. I say strong arm them because my buddy who was in a moving company told me about this like rivalry that he had. He went to Xavier at school, and there were 2 moving companies in the area, and that was it. And they were everywhere. But they had, for some reason, I'm not sure. He doesn't even know how it started. But there was this like ongoing rivalry where whenever one company saw the other moving company, the first ones to throw up the flexes like won. So they were like, when like you see one truck and like your truck pulls up to a stoplight, like they would like look over and the other guys would be like this. So like my buddy
Who
said
started
that,
this competition?
nobody knows, he says, but my buddy Alex would say that like whenever they would pull up, one person would see the other truck. He'd be like, "Oh, there they are! Strong arm them! Strong arm them!" So that's whenever I see Al
That's
now, I'm
hilarious.
like, "Strong arm them, Al. Let's go!
Strong arm them, boys."
Strong arm them!" Yeah.
Alex has no idea what you're talking about.
I know he doesn't, but hey, now he does, dude. Now he does, and now I've taken. See, Al said, "You know the secret."
Al, that was the one that started it.
Yeah, I've taken their thing, and I've made it our thing with Al. Strong
Dude,
arm,
Al is
baby.
such a mover name.
Strong arm. Yeah,
Wow.
it is, dude.
Who's picking
You
up
know-
the stuff today? Oh, Al's picking it up.
Oh, okay.
That's
We'll trust immediately.
They're going
Right?
through the truck. They're going through the truck, like figuring who's going to carry what. And then when they get to like the fridge, they're like, "Oh, we got to get Big Al for this one."
Tommy says mover and a shaker.
And mover and shaker,
The
dude.
name Al says it all. Well, guys, we're about to get into a segment we call the Moreau You Know, where we let you guys know about some stuff we've learned about recently. We've got a couple stories. Each of us came prepared with some Moreau You Know segments. Who wants to go first today? I'm down to go first, but it looks like Coop's excited. And Coop, let's get you in there. Teach us
It's
something.
good 'cause I have a quick one. Like typically mine, and I actually went back and watched a couple. Mine are very long and drawn out and sometimes annoying. So this time I'm often annoying, but usually informative. Right. So this time I'm going to do a very quick one. And it actually is one that put me at ease. I did not know this. And it pertains to these big games And oftentimes when you have a big game, the first game of the season, the Super Bowl, the Daytona 500, what comes with that is a flyover, which is when they have the jets come flying in when the rockets red glare, and everyone's like, "Oh, America, USA, USA." Yeah. So, and you picture, you're like, wow, that was cool. But it was also like, 2 seconds and very expensive. I actually just recently found out that the military factors in these flyovers. There are actual training exercises that need to be done. The formations they do are like bombing run formations, and they're training exercises that would be done anyway. And they actually just reach out to these organizations and say, hey, we have to do these training runs. It's within the budget already. Why don't we do them before the games to give the people a show? And a lot of times with that, the leagues will turn around and say, okay, yeah, do them here. And we'll actually give the pilots tickets so they can come back and kind of watch at field level. And everyone kind of wins. So it's already within the budget. They were going to do it anyway. It's just practice they were going to do. And they just set them up to be during the games. So now we can feel a lot better about that level of patriotism, right?
Honestly, usually I'm like very anti-waste and things like that. Know what I mean? But with something as cool as crazy loud airplanes, like flying over a stadium, that's where I draw the line. Like, fine. I was cool with it if it was a waste, because still, like, airplanes are sick, man. And they're so fast and so loud. But knowing that makes me like removes a layer of guilt about it. Know what I mean? It's happy for everyone. Those were exercises that were going to happen anyways. And then the pilots get to sit on the field and watch the game. That's pretty awesome.
Sit on the field. Sitting crisscross.
They have to sit applesauce. Yeah.
They have to keep their pilot goggles on the whole time.
So yeah, that one made me happy to find that out, because I never knew that, but it makes a lot of sense. Like, you got to practice sometime. Might as well do it to a bunch of drunken fans.
Dude, that's awesome. I had no idea. Awesome. I love situations like that where everyone benefits. Yeah, it's just like one of those things where it's just like, there's no reason for this. It's just like, hey guys, let's do this cool thing that everybody's going to win. Okay, sweet.
Yeah, this works for everyone. Everyone's entertained. It's cool. Free tickets. Everyone's happy.
Let's go.
America.
Joe, you want to jump in next, or you want me to throw mine out there?
Go ahead, Simon.
Okay. I'm going to start with one about a tennis player named Andre Agassi. You ever heard of him?
Mm-mm.
One of the greatest American tennis players of all time. He's a legend in the tennis world, and he had a rivalry with a player that went by Boris Becker. They played 14 times in their career, and the first 3 times they played, Boris Becker defeated Andre Agassi. He couldn't beat him. But then when going back and watching film, specifically on Becker's serve that he was known for, he realized that Becker was doing something that gave away where he was going to serve. I'm seeing the nod of recognition that you've heard this before. In watching film, he saw that Becker would point with his tongue out of his mouth, and it would tell where he was going to serve the ball. And so he was able to tell which direction the serve was coming from by looking across the court and seeing if Boris Becker's tongue was in the corner of his mouth or out of the center of his mouth, and it would tell him which way the ball was coming. And then in an interview, he's talking about it, and he says that it's the hardest part wasn't returning his serve after he figured that out. It was not letting him know that he knew where he was going to serve. And so he would only pull it out in like very critical points in the match, like points that he had to win, where he would read this guy's serve and pull out that prediction aspect to it. And Boris Becker, like, he talks about it. He has quotes where he says, I would go home to my wife and say, I don't know how this guy's doing it. It's like he's reading my mind. Like, that's a direct quote from Boris Becker. And years later, the two were at an Oktoberfest together having a beer. And Andre Agassi told him, hey, just so you know, you used to point which way you were going to serve with your tongue. And Becker says it just floored him, like jaw to the floor, like, you're freaking kidding me. I had no idea how I beat you 3 times in a row, and then you beat me every single match except for one for the rest of our career.
I would have had the FOMO so hard if he told me that. Like, I wouldn't even want to know that.
Yeah, like your whole career, and it's something stupid like that. Oh my God.
That's like your livelihood.
Just something that ridiculously dumb.
That's wild. Where did that come up? It came up recently in something I watched, Simon. That's how I knew I had heard about this. Someone used it was some show or movie where they're talking about
I'm not gonna
a
lie.
tell, and they tell that story.
I had a
Not gonna lie,
Reddit
I
post
mentioned
about it
it.
saved from like a month or so ago that I saw it, or 2 months ago is whenever I saw it on Reddit. I had that Reddit post saved. I was waiting to pull it out for one of these because I just love things like that in sports, like those little advantages that can truly make the difference among the world's greatest athletes.
Wild.
I also one of my on a similar thing, because 14, it was like 13-1, and 13 of those he won because of the tongue move. My favorite and probably the only tennis quote I know. Do you guys ever hear Vitas Gerulaitis's quote?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, Vitas Gerulaitis had a rivalry with a guy, Jimmy Connors, and he lost to Jimmy Connors 17 times in a row, and then finally beat Jimmy Connors in a match. And they asked him about it, and his quote was, "Nobody beats Vitas Gerulaitis 17 times in a row and gets away with it." Which is just such a great way to handle that. He said, and actually, I kind of butchered it. He says, "And let that be a lesson to you all." Nobody beats Vitas Gerulaitis
16 times.
in a row.
Okay. 17. That's where I draw the line.
Hilarious, bro.
That's awesome. Well, John Luke, that was mine. The tongue move that Boris Becker gave away his serve with that Andre Agassi picked up on. What do you got for us? What are you teaching us today?
Mine's a short one. It has to do with a man by the name of Frederick Bauer, who in 1966 developed the Pringles can that we all have come to know and love. He had this idea that he pitched to Procter & Gamble to uniformly stack all the chips so that they just throw them in a bag. He was so proud of this invention, he requested that he be buried in a Pringles can.
I'm sorry, what?
So the inventor of the Pringles can is buried, partially, part of his remains are buried in a Pringles can, which his children, they fulfilled his requests, and they said the only choice was on the way home, they had to choose which flavor they were going to put their
that was going to be my first question.
They decided the original. Original flavor would be best.
Okay, that makes sense.
First of all, boo.
He was 89 years old.
Second of all, sour cream and onion is the best.
Sour cream pizza.
Imagine. That's the thing, though. It's like
you're buried in pizza Pringles.
Pringles. Right? They all sound childish. Once you throw a flavor on there, it does sound childish.
It's ridiculous, yeah.
And we buried him in the sour cream and onion. His favorite.
The cheddar cheese can just feels disrespectful, and I don't know why. Like that bright orange Pringles can just feels rude to bury someone in. Jill, what I thought you meant at first was they created a giant Pringles can, like a coffin, and like they're at and they like pop the lid open and slide them out on a tray, and then they like push them back in and they like close it. I see Jay in there with a similar line, but like they close the lid and they're like, turns out once you pop, you can stop. And then they lower the body into the grave.
Dude, it'd be hilarious if he came back. That was the secret to coming back from the dead.
Being buried in a Pringles can.
Yeah, he just pops back out. Can't stop.
Can you imagine like 250, 300 years from now when they uncover him and they're like, what the hell happened here?
Yeah,
what were they doing back then?
There's all scratches down the side of the thing. They're like, oh my God, he never stopped. He never stopped.
What vessel would you want to be buried in if it's a non-traditional vessel?
Sour cream and onion Pringles.
Like mixed in with the liquid or an empty bottle?
Dissolve so quick.
Like ashes just mixed in Mountain Dew JL Blast?
Yeah, you just think it's pollution.
My ashes in one of these Uggs. so soft. I'm telling you.
Put me in my juice cup.
Grimace
Send me
cup.
off the sea.
Grimace cup.
If I die young, put me in a juice cup.
Juice me up, dude.
Dale, that's a pretty wild one. Buried in a can of Pringles.
Yeah. Did not know that one.
What's the Melissa McCarthy movie where they've got like their dad in a jar of Ovaltine or something like that? and they
I know, but
accidentally.
it sounds so much like a Melissa McCarthy movie without knowing it.
But it sounds a lot like the same thing. Like at least Pringles don't look like ashes. Like they don't have a similar consistency.
Dustin said my ashes are going into fireworks to be set off the next year.
Best time.
What if they just like don't light?
Oh, that'd be whack.
It's just duds.
They go off too early, and everyone just gets like showered with Dustin. They
Or,
get a
like,
nice,
way too late, like six hours later.
They get a nice dusting of Dustin.
Nice Dustin.
Because I have one more short one. If you think we can throw one more short one in there.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So this one is the story of a man in Japan. This is back from 2010. Mr. Kato, Sogen Kato, was believed to be the oldest living man in the world. And on his 111th birthday, Japanese officials went to go congratulate him, deliver him a birthday gift, only to discover mummified skeletal remains laying in his bed. He had been dead for over 30 years at the point whenever people went in there to congratulate the world's oldest living man. And his family had mummified him and kept him in that room. And they had received over 9.5 million yen in widower's pension payments from his bank account after the man who was believed to be the oldest man died. Their reasoning, though, what they told officials was they didn't know because 30 years ago, he locked himself in his bedroom to become a living Buddha in solitary confinement. And that was the story they went with. But this man has been dead for 30 years, and his family said, oh, no, he just locked himself in his room 30 years ago. We haven't seen him since. But he is the oldest living man. Trust us. Keep sending us that money.
That's wild.
Can't knock the hustle. Also, great story. Great story.
Yeah. It's got to stink, though.
111, and they just they've like, can you imagine? They're going to like do a whole bit to really celebrate this man, and they show up and it's a mummy. Yeah, it's got to stink.
Yeah, they brought the whole crew, and they're like, gross.
The local news crew, balloons.
I have one more fun fact for you guys if you have time. Here's a fun fact. I have a new series dropping today over at fantasyalarm.com. If you go over there, it's not out just yet, I don't think, but starting today, I will be previewing a different team every single day going into free agency, which comes up faster than you think. March 13th is the start of the legal tampering period, and that's basically when everybody gets signed. During that period, all the news comes out. So starting today, going to have a different team, all 32 teams, one team every single day. Today is the Browns. Tomorrow, I got a few written already, so maybe I'll do the Lions, maybe I'll do the Dolphins. I don't know. But check that out. It's going to be looking at the team from a free agency standpoint and saying, okay, these are the guys that are locked in for Dynasty. These are the guys that might get replaced. These are the positions this team needs where it might be a good landing spot. So check it out. Starting today, fantasyalarm.com.
As a Browns fan, I might skip the Browns one just to avoid the sadness that'll come along with it at the beginning of this offseason, Coop.
You might like it. There's some upside there for sure. For sure. Your boy Amari Cooper, he looks pretty dialed in.
He looked pretty awesome this year. Well, guys, that is going to be it for us today. I want to thank everybody in the chat who came in and hung out with us on this beautiful Tuesday morning. Good news, we'll be back tomorrow morning and every other day, Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time for more of the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. So come back tomorrow morning and hang out with us, but stick around here on BSN for the rest of the day for more programming. Moose and Keith coming up next, followed by Lunch Money presented by Fantasy Guru after that. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a great day, everyone. Adios.
Bye-bye.